Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I hope you're well. Sorry, just setting up here for the live stream, live discussion between me and you regarding the 1974 film, right? The Man with the Golden Gun. So, hold on for a moment while I finish setting up, and we will be on our way shortly. So just hold on for 1 second. Oh, Cool Kids Clips is here. Hello. And Cooper Glover 1972 is here. Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me on this busy day. For me, it's early morning here, Sunday. So thank you. Zyrother is here. Hello. We'll be starting momentarily. Once again, today's film on the live chat is not live chat, but today's film in the live stream is The Man with the Golden Gun. So that will be the topic of discussion. Wolfgratz, it's nice to see you, my friend. Cheers. Okay, so we will be starting very soon. I hope everyone is doing well, by the way. Is the sound okay from where you're sitting? If not, let me know and I'll try to make some last minute adjustments. But great, thank you. Thank you so much, Cooper Glover. Royce, thank you. Let's see here. Ben Reviews is here. Hello. It's nice to see you. Okay, it's not a problem. Great. I'll see you later, Ben Reviews. So thank you very much for stopping by. Rod is here. It's great to see you as always. Let's see, Royce Sessions, thank you. Island 0071, Island 007100, thank you so much. Thanks for confirming the sound. And also, thank you very much for those topics, those discussion points about Friday the 13th. I really appreciate it. I learned something new. Thank you. Although what did I say? Yes. So the subtitling is as I indicated it. So the subtitling needs to be adjusted. Someone will have to write a letter to the Scream Factory people, but for any future releases. But thank you so much. It was great. Absolutely great. I loved it. And Wolfgratz. Great. Let's see. Wolfgratz is. We have Roger Moore. Yes, Perfect Gentleman. Yes. Although it's a little bit interesting to see Roger Moore here in this film because it's a little bit intense, is it not? So, but anyway, yeah, there is that. There's a little bit of. He seems a little bit angrier than usual, but. And it comes out in how he treats other people and he snaps back at them and stuff. Well, I'll get to that later. And Zyrother, yes, interesting rewatch. The score, yes, was a standout for me, as you say. So I'll try to talk about the score. Groovy Lisa, hello, Groovy Lisa. It's nice to see you. Oh, I hope you're well. I hope you're well. It's I'll try to make some music comments here, but I hope you and everyone else is fine. I really want to join one of those live chats again very soon. That was really great a while back, and the soundtracks and everything. So I'll try to join again. So my warmest regards to everyone, and I hope everyone is well, Groovy Lisa. And Mainly Movies is here. Hello, Mainly Movies. You are doing great work as always. The Dutch Film Buff is here. Hello. Wolfgratz, yes. Roger is nasty to Maud. And a kid in a boat. Yes. It's the kid in the boat. We'll try to talk about that as well. So Erwin is here. Hello. Alan is here. Hello. It's great to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And to all who is here, to all who are here, thank you. And I will address the live chat momentarily. But first, let us go with the live stream because I think now it's time. So officially, welcome and greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and thank you very much for taking the time out to join, even if it is for a little bit. So today is the live stream wherein the planned topic for conversation is the film The Man with the Golden Gun. And so I'm looking forward to this very much. Now, just a few preliminaries before we get underway here. So first of all, this is going to be a general discussion on the film, and it's not going to be the film itself. So sometimes I get comments saying, oh, this isn't the film. No, it's not the film. It's just a talk about the film. And so we're going to talk in detail, in fact, about the film. And so if you haven't seen the film, The Man with the Golden Gun, I would encourage you actually to not watch this live stream. Just very kindly, I would suggest just turn off the live stream, and then you can watch the film and then come back at any time you're ready, because it'll be a video after the fact. And then you can watch the film, or you can watch the live stream and as a video on this YouTube channel, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. I hope. Certainly, I hope you'll enjoy it because there will be usually. How should I put it? My comments aren't as good as I would like, and I'm always saved by the great comments that are found in the live chat. So everyone is always very energetic and spirited, and so intelligent with their comments. And so please come back and check out the live chat because it's always really great. But anyway, I hope you enjoy The Man with the Golden Gun if you haven't seen it. And for those of you who have, welcome. We will be talking about this film. So with that, I referred to the live chat just now. So let me say again, the live chat is open for anyone who would like to talk about The Man with the Golden Gun or any other topic. I usually don't. I usually am very much open with anyone that wants to use the live chat in that way. So the only thing, of course, I ask is, right, it's okay to agree and it's okay to disagree. That's fine. But if there are disagreement, I can always rely on you, I know, to be just respecting of others, and even where there is disagreement, there would always be this mutual sense of respect and courtesy towards others, because you always treat me with that kind of courtesy and respect, and I know that I can rely on you to do the same for others. So I thank you very much in advance for this, really very much. Let's see, so there are always these preliminary topics I have to I always have to mention before I begin. So that's one. What were the others? Oh, yes. So the live chat, of course, is also an opportunity for you if you want to address any comments or questions to me. So that's okay as well. The thing is that I will, of course, do my best to address everyone here. If I inadvertently, unintentionally skip you, I apologize. It's not my intent at all, but I hope you can understand I'm just doing the best I can here. But also, if you want to ask me a question about the film The Man with the Golden Gun, I'll be very happy to try to address it as best as I can. But if you want to ask me a question or leave a comment about something other than The Man with the Golden Gun, then thank you very much. But for now, I will, maybe with all due respect, I will just very gently skip over that because I want to focus my energies today on The Man with the Golden Gun. But you are always welcome and free to leave the same question or comment under a video here or elsewhere. So if you want to ask me again sometime, please do so. But for now, if you don't mind, for me personally, I will try to focus on The Man with the Golden Gun. And so I ask for your understanding on that. And my comments are, as I suggested, I'm not going to be very high level or very like expert level. And so the perspective I have is always that of a fan and one who has seen this film for over the course of many years, since I was, again, as I was a little child. And my evolution on the film, in fact, has been quite dramatic, I would say, and I'll get to that when I start the film discussion in earnest. So, but my comments and perspective are always that of a fan and not an insider or an expert or an academic. So I can't claim to be able to answer everything and know everything about the film. But there are, as I indicated earlier, there are many people here who are very knowledgeable and highly intelligent and very much in the know when it comes to the very minutiae detail of this and other James Bond films and related information. And so hopefully there will be others here who can help you if you have a very specific question that I am unable to answer. So, but if there are such instances, and I'm sure there will be, I ask for your understanding and patience with me, and hopefully you'll find what it is you're looking for, maybe in the live chat or elsewhere. But that is my perspective on this film. And last but not least, I would like to just encourage you, please, to enjoy. Please, this is a very casual conversation. It's not a high-pressure thing, so please just enjoy it and have fun with it. If you like the film, great. If you don't like the film, that's fine too. And but we'll just have fun, and maybe hopefully you can meet other people here and just enjoy the time that you are able to spend here. Again, just talking about this thing that we all love, which is cinema. So with that in mind, my friends, let us begin this conversation in earnest. So thank you very much for, oh, I'm sorry, and one other thing too, I forgot to mention. Let us please, we have, I always am very grateful for everyone's support for this channel and for live streams and for your enthusiasm for film and for James Bond films and the like. So thank you very much. I'm always, I can't do this channel without you, truly. And I'd like to also highlight our dear friend, Kubrick Lover 1972. Kubrick Lover 1972 is a friend, supporter. He is a YouTuber. He is also a great film enthusiast, and he is very kindly he's agreed to be a moderator in this live chat. And so let us just take this moment to really thank Kubrick Lover 1972. He is a dear friend of ours. He is a dear friend of the film community writ large. You can see him, of course, in the great live chats and live streams of our dear friend Aaron Pin. And Kubrick Lover 1972 has his own channel, and he talks with us about his own film enthusiasm, collecting, and specific films in general. So Kubrick Lover 1972. Based on the name alone, I think you can tell that he is a film lover and enthusiast. So please, let's just welcome Kubrick Lover 1972, and thank you so much for the great job you always do here and other channels, and for the community and just in general, my friends. So thank you. I thank you. We all thank you, and we look forward to just talking with you and your own channel and your own discussion. So please also take the opportunity, if you can, to check out Kubrick Lover 1972, his channel, comment there, subscribe, and support him, because he always supports us, and he always gives us his 100%, 1000% every time, everywhere he goes. And I should say also, Cooper Clever 1972 is so kind. He shares these notifications about my live streams. For example, he let people know in his own Facebook groups and everywhere about the Man with the Golden Gun live stream that was going to take place right now. And so he really is just what a nice person, and a great guy, and so enthusiastic, and always makes great comments. And I'm just and he does it not just for me, but he does it for many people. And so he's just such an enthusiastic, nice guy, and a film fan, and I'm so honored. So I want to thank Cooper Glover 1972, and I want to just encourage everyone to check out his channel and YouTube channel, and engage with the discussion and comments there with him going forward. So Cooper Clever 1972, thank you very much. And so with that, let me now go to my opening remarks on The Man with the Golden Gun, and then I will return to the live chat. Okay, so The Man with the Golden Gun. Now, where do I begin with this? Which is, well, I guess I can begin with the beginning, which is that this is, again, a film that was made a few years before I was born. And so that meant that, of course, I was not able to watch this film in the theaters upon its initial release. So my first exposure to the film, The Man with the Golden Gun, was through television, I think. Television or VHS. I want to say television. But it was in the early days when I was a kid, discovering this among other James Bond films at the time. And a part of that early discovery process was, as I've mentioned a number of times in past discussions, through the broadcast of the James Bond films on British television, for example, when I was in the UK for a little bit. And they would also be on VHS, etc. So this was a fairly accessible one to watch. And when I first saw the film, I can say that I was not into it as much as other James Bond films. This would never be considered one of my favorite James Bond films. And there are some reasons for that I'll try to indicate specifically later. But as an overall entertainment work, it didn't do it for me as much as other James Bond films did at the time. And I must admit that this feeling of mine lingered for a number of years as I grew a little bit older, into my teenage years and into college, etc. And then I would say that maybe around the time I was in college, perhaps maybe a little bit later, I forget exactly, I can't pinpoint it exactly, but I started to get a little bit of a turn or a shift on this film and my perspective on this film. So it started to become somewhat of it's one of those things where I think over time and upon a lot of rewatch, because even though I might not have, say, liked the film initially, it was still a James Bond film, and so you just rewatch it and rewatch it. You know what I mean? And so this would be the pattern over the course of many years. But I'm not sure if it was the passing of time and me getting a little bit older, or it was the number of rewatches I carried out with regard to this film. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it was a combination of both factors or others. I'm not sure. But due to some configuration of the circumstances, at some point, as I say, around university age, I began to really enjoy the film, really enjoy. And then that feeling began to carry through to my adulthood, and then to my 20s, 30s, and now into my early 40s. And so now I have this feeling of having such a good time, really such a good time with this film, and I enjoy it immensely. There are moments, I would say, aren't necessarily free, for me anyway, from the sense of being somewhat, lack of a better phrase, problematic. And I'll, of course, try to allude to those specifically later. I'm not suggesting that it's a perfect film. And I'm not suggesting that everyone should like it, of course, because I totally get it. Some people really don't like this film, and they don't like this film for reasons that I can totally understand, because I've been there. I've been in that situation in terms of my perspective. And so if someone has a negative appraisal of this, I can 100% understand and sympathize. But there is also so much, I think, that is great, really, really great about this. And I'll try to point to those moments along the way. I should say also that it's not 100% scientific in terms of data statistic collecting information, but my sense, my general sense, based on comments that I have received as someone who uploads videos on YouTube and as someone who very casually talks about James Bond films, my sense is that there are, in fact, a lot of people who are maybe within this similar space, as it were, including people in the live chat. There are a lot of people who really take to this film quite positively, such that I am always very happy to receive those. And in fact, I would say it's not scientific, but my hunch is that maybe there are a number of people who really enjoy this film more than I had initially anticipated, in fact. So I'm so happy about that. And hopefully we can share those specific reasons as to why we might feel that way. And also we can address those moments or those reasons why some might feel a little bit less than positive about this. So we'll try to cover as much ground as possible. But as I say, I'm at this particular moment now. I think it's great. I saw it recently in preparation for this live stream, and it was still a fun time. So with that, and before I get into specifics, let me now go to the live chat, and we will go from there. So, Cooper Clever, 1972. So you, I'm sorry. So I skipped one. So Alan is. Oops, gosh, I'm skipping over so many comments. Here we go. So Erwin says the soundtrack is great and probably my favorite theme song. Yes, and yes. Thank you, Lulu. Yes, I actually saw Lulu live in a musical when I was a kid once. What a great performance. I want to say Peter Pan. I think she was playing Peter. That was great stuff. And so that was around the time that I was just beginning to discover James Bond and The Man with the Golden Gun. So I was thinking to myself as a little kid in the audience there, watching this musical. I wasn't thinking Lulu. I was thinking, wow, this is someone who's actually sung a James Bond theme song. Wow, that's so cool. So that was my experience with the musical there. But that's a great theme song, by the way. It's so great, and it's great because it has all the information about the plot that you need, about Scaramanga and about what he needs and what he does. Right, and it has a little bit of suspense too, right? His eye may be on you or me, will he bang? We shall see, right? That phrase, we shall see, that, oh my goodness. The way it sets forth the suspense of the film, great, and it has that element of plot, and it has a sleazy element to it with the guitar and the opening credits and the water and the rippling of the water and all the young women who are reflected all over the place, and it's oh gosh, it's so great. It's perfect for the film, and the film too has that almost grungy, sleazy quality to it as well, which I think serves a purpose aesthetically, as well as being, of course, having many of the traits of James Bond and why we enjoy James Bond films. So it has everything. Yes, you're absolutely right. Cooper Glover, 1972, says, I notice Roger Moore jumps away ahead of Britt Eklund when Scaramanga's island is exploding. There's also a bit of a fall that she takes at one moment, too. And she talks, Britt Eklund actually talks about that in the documentary. So the film is so fun, you continue. Yes. Zyrother, it's a much slower film than I remember, which was nice. Interesting, very interesting. Cooper Glover, 1972, says, I noticed Roger Moore likes to smoke cigars in his Bond films. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Neil is here, our dear friend. It's nice to see you. It's not a popular choice for many fans, but I love this movie. Yes, yes. Cooper Glover, thank you. Zyrother, you're right. Beautiful locations. Yes, yes. Among which are that layer, the Scaramanga layer, and the solar energy station. I suppose it's a test center location for to show people, to show various world governments, etc. So. Yeah, that's a great place, and right, it's isolated, and he's alone except for, of course, Knick Knack, and I suppose right, the Maud Adams character, and Craw, of course. So we've got a quick shout out to Craw. Are there any Craw fans out there? So anyway, let me know if you're a Craw fan. And Rod Patel, Maud Adams gets about in the world of Bond. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. And Wolfgratz, it's an entertaining film in the more mode. I mean, it delivers what you would expect. I would have liked to see Chris Lee opposite Sean Connery, but there were your... Yes, that's very interesting. And yeah, that's a really good point. Cooper Glover, 1972, says, let's see, yes, he responds to Zyrother, would love to go to the same place. Tech, I was just listening to the soundtrack. Yes, wow, that's such a great coincidence. That is a great coincidence. Irwin says, great scouting indeed. Scaramanga's Island is an awesome find, and that huge stranded ship is also impressive, although probably a disaster environment-wise. You're talking about the Queen Elizabeth, right, on the side there, yeah. Rico is here, hello. Sol is here, hello. It's nice. Thank you very much, Sol. Thank you. Sol Siltala, thank you very much. And Texas, my favorite Bond movie writer, fantastic. Oh, I'm so happy about that. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, Matthew is here, hello. And we all get our jollies one way or another. Yes, indeed, my friend. Yes, indeed. Yes. Let's see here. Okay. Alan says, we are brothers and sisters in the love of cinema and Bond films. Cinema lovers are respectful of each other for the most part. Yeah, yes. You know, even when there's a twinge of what one might call disrespect, I'm totally okay with that as well, to be perfectly honest, because it's just you know, I mean, I don't know how other people here feel, but I mean, sometimes, like quite a lot of times maybe, I might feel frustrated or kind of angry at a particular film or something, or a commentary, or a particular comment that or a review or something like that. So, or even food as well. Like sometimes I like you know, I like pizza, and I like tomato sauce, and I like spaghetti and pasta, but I for the longest time I didn't like tomatoes themselves, and so you know, I really wanted to like tomatoes, but I just didn't like them. So it's just sometimes people just don't like something, right? It's like me and tomatoes, but I'm getting around, and I can eat tomatoes when they're chopped, but there's something about tomatoes. As I say, I really want to love them, but anyway. And I think that the similar type of metaphor could be made for films, although I'll stop there because I'm sorry about the tomato discussion. But anyway, and then Cooper Glover says, let's see, Cooper Glover 1972 says, I think the exteriors of Scaramanga's island were either Thailand or I think it was in Macau, and I think I like how it's married to the interiors of Scaramanga's island at Pai Wan. Yes. So well, actually, let me just get to the discussion. I'll return to the live chat in a second. So the plot, I think, is very interesting here because it's one of those plots where Bond is actually taken off his mission, right, from the outset. And so, okay, so the plot is, if we look at it from the Bond point of view, he is, or we understand that he was actually in mid-mission trying to find Gibson, the energy specialist. And we later find out that Gibson had something to do with the development of certain technologies that would create, facilitate the conversion of solar energy into practical use electricity, right? Which is a big deal in terms of energy consumption and what we call different energy sources, right? Instead of coal or oil, etc. And so if this can be turned and harnessed and applied in a practical manner, then solar energy would be very practical indeed, and especially during years of oil and energy crises. This type of topic, I think, is very timely, especially in the mid-1970s. Okay, so that was his mission. But at the start of the film, after the end of the opening credits, Roger Moore's Bond, who for the first time, I would add, is seen in M's office, which is nice, because the last time we saw him was in Live and Let Die, where M actually visited him in Bond's home. But here we get the usual environs of a James Bond film, including M at M's office and Q and the like, and Miss Moneypenny, of course. But here we get the great establishment of Bond being taken off his mission by M because of this perceived threat against Bond, with the sending of the golden bullet with 007 on it, and the note, and this mysterious set of circumstances, which is suggestive, at least at the outset, which is suggestive to the people there that perhaps this was sent to Bond by none other than the, I suppose, very famous or infamous assassin Francisco Scaramanga. And I love the moment too when M says, what do you know about a man called Scaramanga to Bond, and Bond is standing there and says, Scaramanga? Ah yes, the man with the golden. I love the time that Moore takes in order to process the M's questions. Ah yes, I love that. That's such a great choice, and the fact that the camera holds on that moment, priceless. But so yes, so we get the golden bullet, and so then, because Bond is taken off his main mission of trying to find Gibson in the midst of this energy crisis, because of this perceived threat to Bond, then what happens is Bond gets a rather veiled suggestion from M, saying that if Bond can find Scaramanga first, then perhaps that would alleviate the circumstances. And M very tacitly agrees in that wonderful M way. And so then that leads Bond to try to track Scaramanga down first himself. And therein lies the impetus of the plot going forward. First he goes to Beirut. It's Beirut, right? And sees Saida and getting the golden bullet, which apparently was the reason why Bill Fairbanks, the 00 agent Bill Fairbanks, died in her arms. and then finding that bullet in her belly button in order to use that to track who made the bullet. And then if we can track who made the bullet, then perhaps that can lead to Scaramanga himself. So that's the line of the plot going forward. So that's one line. And then the other line, of course, is the establishment of Scaramanga himself as one of the premier marksmen and assassins. And we get a sense of this, and who lives a life of what seems to be quiet luxury, except that at the very outset we also see him in this very twisted world established in what's known as the Fun House, and the gangster, the Mark Lawrence character that we saw in the earlier film, one of the earlier films, 2 films prior to this, right? Diamonds Are Forever. So he's like, right, I didn't know there was a pool down there. And so I like to think that when he's walking through the funhouse corridor, he falls into the hole. So I didn't know there was a hole down there. I like to think that he says that to himself. But anyway, so we of course get that wonderful opening sequence with Scaramanga. Now we understand as a hitman, just trying to keep his edge, trying to make sure that he doesn't lose whatever it is he needs in order to maintain his top-tier marksmanship. All right, so and in a very creepy, eerie, and bizarre, wonderfully bizarre setup, the funhouse section there, and the way that that Knick-Knack is portrayed as a character is really well established here. So, that's I'll try to get more into that later. But that's in terms of the plot. That's the establishment. So it's Scaramanga established, and then Bond established, and there's the Gibson energy crisis element that's established. But first, it's Bond trying to find Scaramanga. Okay. Then we will find out later that those plots are actually very conveniently, I understand, but still, they're intertwined because who does... Okay, so let me take a step back. Bond then goes to get the bullet in order to be able to track Scaramanga to Lazar in Macau, because Lazar is a very expert craftsman when it comes to guns and also to bullets, etc. So, and he goes to Lazar, and it has that wonderful, famous moment about "so speak or forever hold your peace" line. And then that leads to the casino, and then to Miss Anders, the Maud Adams character, and then that leads to the Bottoms Up Club, and then the Bottoms Up Club so leads to the discovery of Gibson and Hip and all that. So let me stop there. So this is the train of plot progression in this film, and it's really wonderful. It's very clear, I think. Although it's interesting. I always, well, not always, but I guess maybe fairly recently, I thought maybe someone can answer this question. I had the question, which was, why did he need to get the bullet from Saida, right? If they sent him the bullet anyway, if he got the bullet, I would assume that the bullet would be the same type of bullet that Scaramanga uses. If that's the case, then all he needed to do, right, was to have that bullet with the 007 examined, and then he could go straight to Lazar. I'm not sure why, practically, he needed to go all the way to I guess, Beirut, and have that fight in the backstage room there, etc. But I understand for the purposes of the plot, it was good to have things spiced up a bit and to have a little bit of a fight and some maybe romance and that sort of thing, and that elegant look to it, I suppose. But still, I think practically speaking, I think he could have skipped that and just gone straight to take that bullet with 007 and examine that and go to Lazar and then go to the casino, etc. And that actually would have been one less step, and that could have maybe saved Bond or saved Gibson, and he could have reached the Bottoms Up Club or whatever much earlier. But oh well. That's how things go, I suppose. But anyway, so going to the Bottoms Up Club, and then we then meet who we later will understand to be Hip, and Um, and then someone else who we later will see to be Gibson, and this is quite shocking, because we also see that Gibson is essentially killed. He's assassinated out in the middle of the street, and he had what we understand to be the Solex, or if Q were here, he would correct me and say Solex agitator. You know, so we'll refer to it as the Solex, which is a little, I think, in essence, I think it's like a computer chip or a cell of some sort, which is about like a cassette size, or maybe a size of maybe cassette is too antiquated a comparison now. Maybe we should say the size of a smartphone. Okay, but excuse me. But okay, so then it's the agitator, the Solex agitator, and then we understand later that Hip is, I think it's, M refers to him as our man here in Hong Kong, and so he is working for the British government. So I think the phrase "our man" is usually referring to someone who is a British agent. So that's the implication there. Although he might have ties to the local police, I'm not sure. But in any event, that's where they meet, and then that leads to the idea that maybe Scaramanga is working for High Fat, and High Fat hired Scaramanga $1 million a hit in order to assassinate Gibson and obtain the Solex agitator. So that's where then they try to infiltrate High Fat's palace by Bond pretending to be Scaramanga, but in fact they see right through it, and that causes Bond to try to escape, and that leads to a chase, etc. And then that leads also to tensions between Scaramanga and High Fat, and then High Fat is killed, leading Scaramanga to be able to take the Solex for himself. And through certain circumstances, he still manages to get away with it to his island in order to, what we understand to be his plot, to essentially, I guess, maybe make a lot of money with the solar power energy station that he hopes to sell to the highest bidder, and then allow the highest bidder to then license out to many different third parties, as well as use it on his own, which is an interesting concept. Although one might think that it would be more profitable for Scaramanga to to not sell out the rights to the station, but rather to keep the rights for himself and then license them out to various third-party bidders. That would probably be and then he would receive essentially license fees or royalties or whatever for the licensing rights. But that's what he says, and then he says also that maybe he might get money from oil barons and the like in order to not put solar power like this on the market. So in any event, there is some kind of profit that he can anticipate with regard to this solar energy station. And also it enables him to have a solar gun, the ultimate, right? And he makes this reference himself. So he becomes the man with the golden gun, and I like that use of the double meaning of the phrase "golden gun" here. It's not only does he have a golden gun, an actual gun itself that he uses to shoot, but he also is able to harness the power of the sun enough to be able to have this laser, which is in itself a golden gun, right? The sun being golden, etc. So there is that. There is a confrontation between them, because it's ultimately about who is the better marksman, and Bond is able to outwit. And then we have the final final climax, and then showdown, and then epilogue or denouement with Knick Knack and the boat. And then that's the plot, I think. So in terms of the plot progression, I think I think it goes rather nicely from point to point to point. It might be said to be a little bit too convenient in terms of, Scaramanga and the Solex plot line converge rather conveniently at the bottom, outside the Bottoms Up Club. So okay, that might be a little bit convenient for plot purposes, but again, that's okay for in terms of plot. I think that's perfectly natural, and I think also the Solex And the Solex plot line might not seem to be the flashiest or the most exciting plot lines that there have ever been in a Bond film. So, therefore, I think this convenience of plot is very acceptable, and perhaps it's not as it's not as noticeable as maybe other plot lines might be. So I think that's okay, and the way that the characters weave in and out, I think, is also very effective. It also has that Bond film element of, oh, Bond is captured by the villains, and oh, they're about to kill him. And in fact, there's one point where Knick-Knack is about to impale Bond while he's lying out there unconscious, and just as he's about to do it, it's just, no, not here, right? Take Mr. Bond to school. So they want Bond dead, and he's in the high fat mansion, and they can kill him, and he wants him dead. But okay, I want this guy dead so much. What am I going to do? I'm going to have someone else take Bond, who is unconscious, out to somewhere else entirely, to the school, and have these people beat him up and all this. Okay, that's fine. And then they escape. And I get angry when I get the calls saying, oh, he escaped Chula. Why did Chula let him escape? Why is he angry at other people? He should be angry at himself, high fat, because he is the one who essentially did that. So that is very, I mean, he's supposed to be this really great businessman, right? This huge, huge successful businessman. But I don't know, this suggests to me that maybe he was lacking, at least in the villainy department anyway. But anyway, so there are those elements that we love in Bond films of, oh, great, Bond is in this terrible situation. How is he going to escape? But then circumstances are such that he's able to do so. And we do meet a number of very memorable characters along the way. Hip, and I'll get to him in a second because I have a lot of things to say about Hip. What is he thinking with the car anyway? But Goodnight and Scaramanga, Knick-Knack, and everything. And also, once again, a shout out to Craw. And any Craw fans out there, please let me know. And I will try my best to respond. So that is, I think, that is in essence the plot. So so there are many of these. Gosh, what was I going to say? Oh yes, the other thing I wanted to say, and I'll get to the live chat after this, is what I also love about the plot is it introduces, or it allows us to become reacclimated to the world of James Bond as we knew it up to, say, the film On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And so this feels like this is the first time actually in the Hamilton-Mankiewicz trilogy where we get the meeting between Bond and M in M's office. We didn't get that, I think, in Diamonds Are Forever. We didn't get that, I think, in Live and Let Die, but we get that here in The Man with the Golden Gun. So it feels like it's an element of Bond cinema tradition that we have back, which is, it's a nice feeling. And we get the little scene with Q. We got Q, of course, in Diamonds Are Forever, but not in Live and Let Die. We got reference to Q in The Watch and the Rolex Submariner, but and we actually see the Submariner appear very briefly with Bond when he's surveying the outside of the Bottoms Up Club, complete with cigar too. Cooper Glover, 1972. You're right. But I like that. I like those reintroductions of these traditional Bond cinema traits. And also one of those traits is the relationship between Bond and M here. And I think we see that M is very grouchy, he's very impatient. There's one, maybe a little bit of stretch. I'm not sure why Bond didn't know that Hip and the British government were trying to make contact with Gibson at the Bottoms Up Club. Apparently Bond didn't know about this. And this is very strange to me because all the way up to recently, he would have been on the mission to try to find Gibson. So I'm not sure. Maybe there were different strands of the same mission. Maybe Bond was in a different part of the world. I'm not sure. But in any event, M is here in this part of the world in order to make contact with Gibson. So, but oh well, that's right. So maybe, like I say, the mission is worldwide. So maybe Bond is just one component of that. Okay. But what I like is M and Bond's relationship. M is grouchy. Bond has to be the quiet a soldier, if you will, of M. But also there's that thing where M is in trouble in essence, and so Bond is saying, okay, I will work basically unofficially in order to try to get to the bottom of the situation. And I love that sort of unofficial understanding between the two of them. It happens twice, at least twice. First is at the beginning when M is very, I think, cleverly suggesting unofficially to Bond that he should try to find Scaramanga first. And there's that little note of acknowledgement from Roger Moore's Bond. He gives a little smile, which I love, as he exits the office. And then the second moment is toward the end when they find Goodnight Signal, and then it's able to track to the island, but it's in China Sea territory, and so this would be a no-no for an official British government action. But unofficially, Bond says, I can just go in there unofficially with the plane, and then I'll go in and go out and take care of the situation. So that's another instance where Bond is able to act unofficially, not just for the quote-unquote mission, but also for M's sake. And so I like that M-Bond relationship that's established here. M and Roger Moore's Bond, I should say. So all in all, I think it's a really good plot. Are there plot holes, or are there bits where it's a little bit shaky? Yes, there are, and maybe we'll get to that in a moment. But for now, I think the plot holds very well. But now going back to the live chat and picking up where I left off. Wolfgratz, and here it's great discussion of parasites. It's wonderful. Joe and the movies. Thank you. Super underrated channel. Keep doing this. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's very kind. Wolfgratz. Brian is a spanner again. Yes, I'm making reference to the fact the moderator. Let's see. Cooper Clever 1972 says, I do music too. Oh, great. Thank you. Vaughn Jarvie, hello. It's nice to see you, my friend. Cooper Clever. Tech. Oh, thank you, Tech. Wow, that's very kind of you. A super chat from Tech. Thank you. And also, we should point out, Tech, this is your favorite James Bond film, I think, as you indicated earlier in the live chat. Excellent choice, my friend. Excellent choice. And don't let anyone try to convince you otherwise. This is a magnificent work, and I'll try to make the arguments for that. But yes, thank you so much. But, you know, it's interesting. Very rarely is this film, I think, cited by people as being their absolute favorite. So, well done. Well done. I'm very happy about that. And so make sure this is continues to be your favorite, and let everyone know, because the more enthusiasm that's paid to this film, I think, the better. But thank you, Tech, and thank you for your super chat, but also thank you for your great enthusiasm for the film. It's a great pleasure for me to be able to get to know you, Tech, so thank you. Let's see. The Dutch film buff, our dear friend, giving great praise to Cooper Glover 1972 as he deserves. And the Dutch film buff, thank you very much. It's been great to be able to speak with you on comments, on past videos and the like. So thank you. It's great to see you. Let's see. Cooper Glover 1972 says, the gangster at the beginning, I don't understand why he carries a gun with a holster in his hand. Why wouldn't have it attached to a belt? Oh, okay, that's interesting. So maybe it's suggestive of a number of things. Maybe he was on the boat and maybe it was a little bit uncomfortable, or maybe that's just the way he is. I'm not sure. Maybe he needed to be sure the gun was in his hand as he approached and as he got on the island, so he didn't quite know what the circumstances were. But anyway, yeah, so this is good, because this is going to bring me to a hold on for 1 second here. Sorry about this. I'm so sorry about this. Yeah, this is going to bring me to let me just talk about the opening, which I think is such a great opening. It's really creepy and weird, and we get the whole thing. We suddenly, we get Scaramanga and the reference to the golden gun, and I think the first time we see this golden gun, but it's this weird shape in the fun house, and then Knick Knack, her Villachez, and we get now where how are you going to get your gun, your little golden gun. I love how he emphasizes the word little instead of golden. If I would have thought that someone would emphasize golden, your little golden gun, but he says little golden gun. So that's really interesting. So we get the introduction of Knick Knack, and we get Miss Anders, and the third nipple on Scaramanga, which I don't know about you, but when I saw that on TV for the first time, I really wasn't quite sure what I was seeing. I suppose it was because it wasn't widescreen on TV when it was first broadcast on British TV back in the 80s or whatever. And so I think the way that it was cropped was such that you couldn't tell that he had 3 nipples on his chest. And so I was like, da-da-da, and then the John Barry's go, da-dang! It has that sting, but like, why are we zooming in on his kind of wet chest? I don't know. But later I realized, oh, okay, there's a third nipple. Okay, so there's that. And I really enjoy Christopher Lee's comments about this particular application. And he says, it's really quite charming the way he's talking with great sincerity and earnestness about how he asked his doctor or something about this, and he realized that it was much more frequent than he might have otherwise initially thought. So well done, Christopher Lee. And right. And speaking of which, right, Christopher Lee, what a great villain here. And I'll address that later. But the opening here, I think it's really interesting for the introduction of these characters. Mark Lawrence, of course, as the gangster. A bit of familiarity in James Bond world. Mark Lawrence also is I mean, he has really interesting filmography history, really interesting. So Pigs, I don't know if you know that, but anyway, there are some interesting tricks here. If you notice when Mark Lawrence and Knick Knack enter the sort of waiting area inside Scaramanga's lair, there's a little moment where they go through the doorway and the camera does a vertigo shot. It kind of goes forward and goes backwards at the same time, so it feels like it's stretching out space. Very subtle, but very effective, and it actually is very indicative. It's a visual cue of the type of warping of space that we'll actually see when the gangster goes into the funhouse section. And I love this too because Knick Knack is seemingly double-crossing his boss, who is Scaramanga. And he says, half, you'll get the rest later. And so we get the sense that he is maybe plotting against Scaramanga. So I like this element already where Knick Knack is actually suggested as being two-faced. But in fact, when we see the film and how it plays out, I think we can understand that Knick Knack is probably the most loyal. He is so loyal to Scaramanga all the way to the very end, the bitter end, when he's there in the boat and he sees Goodnight and Bond there on the bed, and he's up there on the roof, on the ceiling, and he goes out with that lovely flow of the John Barry's, and he's got the knife. And talk about it. I mean, he is so dedicated, Knick Knack is. At the very end, right, he bites the knife, but you notice he bites the knife not like this way, which I think would be the safe way. He bites it like this, with the blades exposed to his teeth. So that's dedication right there. My goodness. So anyway, maybe it's dedication, or maybe he really hates Bond. I don't know. But in any event, we see Knick Knack. Maybe he might be double-crossing, but in fact, throughout the film, he is 100% loyal to Scaramanga through and through, at least as we see it. So I like this kind of confusion already, not just in visual terms and camera movement, but also in terms of the perspective and characters. Who are we going to believe and trust? And through that, it's interesting too, because we sympathize with Scaramanga, or Christopher Lee anyway. We don't quite know who is the villain, we see that all the circumstances are set up against the Christopher Lee character. So we inherently sympathize with him. Knickknacks against him, the gangsters against him, all this, right? He's being hunted. But then the tables are turned, and then the gun, and then and he's able to get his target, and we get, boom, the lights turn on, and the wonderful Roger Moore, dun, and the hands too, which is very important. Like, well, it's great stuff. And then we realize that Knick-Knack and Scaramanga, this was part of their plan, their plot. The poor guy, I didn't know there was a pool down there. He should have said also, I didn't know those steps could turn into a slide down there, sort of thing. So again, all bets were off. The tables were turned. It was really Scaramanga who is the ultimate bad guy, and thus leads into The Man with the Golden Gun, the name of the film, the name of the song, so you know this is the tough guy. This is this is the villain. So, my goodness, wow, all these confusing aspects happening within the space of the pre-title sequence. I find this to be so effective. And then the funhouse scene itself with the various music, with the saloon and the dummies and Al Capone, and the weirdness of space, the lack of geography or sense of geography and space in this moment is, I think, great. And there's this wonderful motif that's introduced from the outset of mannequins coming to life, which is eerie, very eerie. And we'll see this again with the sumo wrestlers in High Fat's Garden, and also other, like, Knick-Knack and the weird way that he comes to life, right? And that moment. Also, of course, it'll come up at the very end with the duel and James Bond as well. So all these elements come in immediately. Confusion, not knowing exactly who to ally or to give our allegiances to as viewers, but then upturn, things like that. People, are they double crossing or not? But in fact, no, it's all part of this plot. And it's weird, and three nipples and all this, and it's great, absolutely great. So this is the confusing spin that we go on, and then goes into the fantastic, electrifying, sleazy, kind of grimy, grungy song with the and that's great stuff. And then the way that the water ripples in order to, I guess, conceal the nudity of the models, or the sort of the leaf petals on the water surface there to kind of, I guess, strategically conceal all this, right? So okay, but yeah, great stuff. What a great start. And I think it's so dense and layered. It's much more layered than I had originally given it credit for when I was first watching the film as a kid. So this is classic stuff. So yeah, so I'm a big fan of this opening, very much. And yeah, so let's see here. All right, Wolfgratz. Okay, so I'm just going for the whoops. Okay. Sorry about this. I always do this. I'm very bad with this. Live chat is going great, but it's going at top speed too. So, oh my goodness. So I've just. Gosh, now I'm unable to go back to the top here. So I'm so sorry. I'm unable to continue on with the channel. It's too bad. Hold on, let me just try something else here. Okay, so now I'm having trouble. What else is new here, right? I'm having trouble with trying to get back to a part of the live chat, so I can't go back to where I was off. So I'm going to skip a whole. I can't address a whole bunch of the live chat, so I apologize. So the earliest comment that I'm able to see here, and I apologize again if I've skipped over your comment, but maybe you can see it where you are. And so, but for me on my computer, I'm at Dutch Film Buff's comment, where he says, "I didn't get why Bond openly tosses away his third nipple when he's still in front of High-Fat's house. He took a totally unnecessary risk there." Yeah, although Hip is also parked out there, so I think, are they outside the gates, or maybe they're a little ways off? I hope. But so maybe in terms of their position vis-a-vis the gate entrance to High-Fat's mansion, maybe they feel like they're safely away. Okay. And then as far as the throwing away the third nipple that he has, the nipple appliance, maybe maybe Q made a stock of nipples. I don't know. Maybe he has like 6 of them. I don't know. But and he just took one of them. You know how it is with, well, I don't know, with sort of Q appliances. Maybe he likes to make spares. So maybe he has a spare nipple. So yeah, okay. But you're right though. It is still a risk because he didn't realize that he could still be seen from that point, and we understand that Scaramanga with the binoculars is able to see him, and that's a great moment too, I must say, which is Scaramanga looking and he's smiling, and the theme song with the John Barry score, the dun da 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 da. That's a great moment too. And I must say, let me just point out before I forget, which is the John Barry score is for me also one of the best. I was referring to earlier about how I think that, in a lot of ways, especially in the opening setup, this is a film where we see Bond, quote-unquote, traditional Bond cinematic elements returning in a certain way to the world of Roger Moore's Bond. And one of those elements, I think, is the John Barry score. So this is the second Roger Moore film, and this is the first time, therefore, that we have a Roger Moore James Bond film with a John Barry score. So I think, I agree with everyone who says that it's a great score. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The song is itself very, it has a really nice catchy melody line. But we're talking about the score for a moment. There are instances where I get chills because of whatever it is. I can't quite explain it, but it's the combination of the visual and the music, and it's just become so memorable. I was talking a little bit about this last week, about there's a moment in Diamonds Are Forever and Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, and they find Bond's body passed out in the elevator, and that moment of the John Barry score just sends chills. It's so iconic to me. There are so many moments like this here in The Man with the Golden Gun. Take, for example, when after Gibson has been assassinated outside of the Bottoms Up Club, and he is apprehended by Hip, and then they're going to go where we understand to be the secret base inside the Queen Elizabeth there. So so there's that, and the moment that I love, absolutely love, is where we see Knick-Knack and Scaramanga walk down the bridge, the small bridge from the port to their ship, and then we see Scaramanga do that wonderful one-hand grab, hop onto the boat. I love that bit of the quick hop, and then he kind of goes like that a little bit when he tries to go down into the lower decks there of the ship. And the John Barry music has that da na 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 na. There's something about Christopher Lee's walk, and just how he's got his one hand gliding along the side rope rail there, and just the shake of the bridge or something, and just the commanding presence of Scaramanga, and the little bit of physicality that he has on the hop step of the boat, and that great music. So wonderful. Another moment too that I love is after Bond escapes through the wall of the school after fighting with Chula, or I should say, when he fights with Chula, or Chua, 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 right? It's great stuff. And then and he flies through the wall there, and then they fight, and then Hip and and the girls fight. Oh, forgot to tell you, their father runs a karate school. So then there's the fight, which is really great outside the school, and then he takes care of the guy, and he throws the guy's face out there, and he's like, dun da da da, and then we get a shot of Bond, and we see him Bond like running away, and then it goes da 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 da. Ah, that is such a cool moment. And Roger Moore there with his kind of look on his face and the sun shining down, he looks so debonair and just like he's about to just go out and escape, and that's great. And that leads to one of the most infamous moments, I think, in any Bond film. How the heck could Hip not know that Bond wasn't in the car? Oh my goodness! What is? I love the character. Don't get me wrong, but what was he thinking? Was he just so into driving and escaping that he couldn't? Not only could he not know, why didn't he not know that Bond was there? And why wasn't he listening to the girls who were trying to tell him? No. I'm assuming they were trying to tell him, stop! He's not in the car. He's not in the car. But no, he kept driving off. Okay. But that's a great moment too, that musical moment, right? Da, 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 da. Okay. And, goodness. And there are so many, I'm losing track, but, gosh. Oh, yes. And there's the build-up. When he's climbing, Bond is climbing underneath the supports in the fun house at the end, like dun dun. Oh, that's great, and it's actually a little bit of a borrowing of the theme that is used when Bond is flying into the Scaramanga Islands, and we get the shot behind the airplane, dun dun dun, and the buildup is so dramatic and exciting. Wow, this is great stuff. And I was referring also to the moment when we hear the theme again, da da da, as we see Bond and Goodnight in the bed, and above we see Knick Knack with the great, again, the knife in the mouth, da 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 da. These moments are moments to cherish in a Bond film. The combination of the great music and the great visual, something unexplainable. It's just like that intuitive feeling that you get, that gut feeling you get when you watch something, you know it's golden, absolutely golden. I think those moments are there, and those are examples of why I'm with you. Anyone who says that this is among their favorite scores in a Bond film, I am with you 1000%. It is. This is really great. Just chills, absolutely chills. And there is one moment, I suppose, that is very infamous in terms of the merging of sound and image, right? Which is, of course, the jump, the car jump, and the whistle sound that's used, and we get the flying butt of Sheriff Pepper. So maybe for some that adds insult to injury. I don't know, but it's only for a moment anyway. The flying butt shot. But anyway, that merging of the sound and the image, right? For some is a little bit too much, or maybe a lot too much, and maybe unforgivable. And we do see this occasionally with Bond films. We might see it later in the John Glenn era, and the use of maybe the Beach Boys and what some might perceive to be somewhat an inappropriate time. Here, I think, is probably one of the most, if not the most infamous moments of that in a Bond film. Now, how do I feel about this? So when I first saw the film, yeah, I think it would have worked better, obviously, without the sound. I'm with you. And in fact, when you see the documentary, the making of documentary that you first saw on the DVD, which is right here, with Patrick Macnee as the narrator, it actually, you can see the sequence with the na 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 na, and it has a different music entirely. So I think everyone understands, even the documentary filmmakers, everyone understands that it would have been better without that sound. It would have been better. But here's something that I was thinking about recently, which is that in a strange way, I think it's a very elegant choice, okay? In the sense that it can totally diffuse the situation. Now, again, I understand how people might say it diffuses it too much, to the point of turning it into unnecessary parody, which takes away from the effect of the stunt itself. But if we, I mean, still acknowledging that the stunt is magnificent and fantastic, and the stunt person and the coordinator and the planners, they all did a magnificent job. It's one of the great stunts in Bond film history, period. Okay. So understanding that, and with that basis, then I think the way that it's shown in the film with the sound effect has this interesting way of diffusing, or maybe just not over glorifying it. I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, but it's a very modest way of showcasing what otherwise is a magnificent stunt. And I think that show of modesty might be said to be very much, I think, it could be said to be a positive way of looking at it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm in the camp of saying it shouldn't have been there, but you know, it's one of those things where you see it and like, oh my goodness, why did they do that? But the more you think about it, the more you realize, my goodness, the stunt is. It's one of the best stunts out there. It's dangerous, and you can't believe it happened. And people acknowledge it. Christopher Lee says, "Oh, it's probably the best thing in the whole film, or something." So, so it's a magnificent stunt. So, however you fall on the sound effect there, and I'm with you. Still, the stunt itself can't be denied, and so, you know. I mean, I get, maybe I'll get to The Spy Who Loved Me later, but there's similar moments in Spy as well that I feel, but this is actually probably the most infamous moment of that in The Man with the Golden Gun. But I think without that sound effect, perhaps, The Man with the Golden Gun as a film would probably, there would be more chance of it being really highly regarded in Bond film fan circles, because this is the moment that people point to a lot when they try to say that they don't like this film. And I get it, I absolutely get it, but it's like, oh, that terrible, that they spoiled, that they ruined the stunt with this. So, but it's only one moment, and it doesn't take away from the fact that the stunt itself is magnificent. So, and if we keep that in mind, right, of course, it's still a great stunt. It still is, of course it is. But yeah, so anyway, Cooper Clever, and again, I apologize, my computer is not allowing me to display to me the entirety of the chat, so I've been cut off, and so I'm at the point, the earliest point I am here at is Cooper Glover 72 says, oh, okay, you're the secret agent from England, that English secret agent. Who are we now chasing, boy? This is my department. Yes, so you're making reference to Sheriff Pepper. Okay, so Pepper. What do we make of Pepper? I already made reference to Sheriff Pepper's flying butt, and that's actually really impressive. Actually, the way he's able to fly from the front seat to the back seat. Actually, that's very impressive. So, what do we make of? So, we understand, right, if I understand correctly, he doesn't want his wife to buy the elephant because, what does he say? We're Democrats. So I think he considers himself to be a Democrat instead of a Republican in terms of U.S. politics. So, okay, if that's the case, although maybe my ear is not catching that correctly, but I understand it's donkey and elephant, right, associated with those parties respectively. But okay, so that's interesting. And we have him in his tourist outfit with all complete with the white socks that are pulled up, and okay. And he has the language of, you know, pointy heads, and he's very disparaging about. He says he describes the gi of some of these people as pajamas, and he adds insult to injury by saying pajamas instead of pajamas. So it's not the best start right there, if you're asking me. But we see the lovable side of him when we get the car chase and Bond and the like, and so, and he's he's like a school kid. He's like a boy playing, and he wants to make friends with the cool guy in the schoolyard. You know what I mean? And that's the vibe I get from him in the second part where you see him. So I'm not. I'm kind of. I'll admit it's a little bit uncomfortable to get that stuff, even though I know it's for comedy's sake, and there are some maybe remarks, and I'm not the biggest. I'm not the biggest fan of the use of the word. What is it? Pointy head. I'm not a big fan of that, to be perfectly honest. But I can understand it, and I can let it go because I understand that's the whole point of the character, is to be totally outrageous and politically incorrect and very insulting and disparaging. But also he has a lovable side to him, and so I can get that, and I'm okay with that. So that actually, let me just, before I go on, let me just address too that there are moments that I admit I'm quite uncomfortable when I watch this film, and I can kind of see both sides. But because I can kind of see both sides, I can see one side of it which makes me feel uncomfortable. So it's the way that the characters treat the people in the locality. And so I must admit that there's this discomfort that I get, for example, with the foo yuck joke. You know, I get it. I get, in English it sounds like it's yuck, right? And so there's this joke here. But I don't know. Also, a part of me is a little bit uncomfortable with that because it does it is a kind of joke that is making fun of the locality and the language, which I don't know if I would have gone that far, but it is only one part. It just goes away, although people do remember it. But and then it goes into that whole discussion: does it really exist? And all stuff. So so there's that. But also, I understand it's also taken for the idea of Bond as a connoisseur of wines, etc. So, but it does have that hint of that. So, and also there are moments too where, again, it's not. I would say I wouldn't call my discomfort like at high levels, but it's just a very slight discomfort. The fact that Bond, when he meets Lazar, he's just, there's a shot of the old woman and the two kids eating, and they just look at him, and it's held in a way that's, I understand it's supposed to suggest a sense of complete distance between Bond and the locality, and especially we see Bond he doesn't make any effort to speak in the language, although we understand that he's a man of many languages. He's just so impatient with them that because they don't understand English, I suppose. I don't know why. Which I mean, it's kind of this weird thing. I know it's trying to establish the foreign nature of Bond, but and it is an English. It's a film that is made in terms of English as the primary language of the film. I get that, but it's I don't know. It's a little bit like why cast this particular moment in that way? Maybe it could have been done a little bit differently. But of course, again, it's a film that was of a different product or a different time period. So I also get that as well. So and it comes and goes rather quickly. So the moments like this make me, I admit, a little bit uncomfortable. Perhaps also what adds to the discomfort is, well, actually, let me try to separate the two. I'll try to get to the Roger Moore performance in a second, but I should separate the conversation here. So just, I wanted to get that off my chest. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Damn Fool Idealistic Crusader is here. Hello. One thing I do dislike is how much of a buffoon Goodnight becomes. It is a joke about the Bond girl stereotype, but you wish it wasn't so sharply drawn. Yes, Goodnight. Goodnight. Yeah, it's pretty, Goodnight. Yeah, that's also a tough thing. The Goodnight character, she's so earnest, and right, she's only been there. She says herself 2 years, and that's where she knows. That's what she knows about the green Rolls Royce issue, and what is it, Peninsula Hotel, I think. And although I always try to look, is it green? Is it green or black? I forget. But anyway, it's green Rolls Royce, and she tries her best in terms of putting the Homer inside the trunk of the car, but of course that turns out poorly, and she gets stuck in the boot. And she's able to open it as well from the inside, which is it's a good skill to have, but it's just the unfortunate timing on her part, etc. And then she does turn into a bit of a maybe. Right, there's a moment where Bond is trying to retrieve the Solex, and the beam is on, and he's up there, and he's trying to be patient with her, and you can tell it's so kind of almost demeaning in the way that he's trying to explain it to her, but it's just she just doesn't. Right, she just never dealt with this kind of technology before. So, I mean, if I were there in Goodnight's position, I would probably be in the same thing. What the heck is he talking about? I don't know what this button is. Is this what you're talking about? And then there's a moment where Bond snaps it. Just push every damn button there, will you? And that sort of thing. And so he just loses patience with her. And it's not just that, but of course, as I think you were alluding to earlier, damn fool, which is the notion of it's her bum that causes the button to be pressed, which leads to all this stuff, which is interesting too. The button is pressed. We see the shot of her bending down and looking down at Bond below, and then the shot of her bum touching the console, and then the button is pressed, which leads to the lever rising, and then that leads to the thing opening up and all this stuff, and the sun shining, being reflected, etc. Yeah, that's a little bit maybe unfortunate. But it's an example. That's an example of like, oh, couldn't have they thought, maybe there could have been a different way of trying to set up the same situation. I feel the same way about Hip and the car and the escape from the school, to be perfectly honest. That's a little bit, and it's at the expense of Goodnight, who could have been, it would have been a really interesting character. For example, it would have been an interesting alternative to have, say, Goodnight take care of trying to retrieve the Solex while Bond was fighting Scaramanga on the island. So you had the two dueling or parallel storylines happening at the same time. That would have been interesting, and it would have made Goodnight a more proactive character in the realm of the story. Rather, it's just Bond takes care of Scaramanga. Then that's done. Now Bond takes care of getting the Solex and stuff. So if Goodnight had been a character where maybe she would have, maybe if she had been the expert in solar energy or something like that, that would have been more interesting, and that would have been, she would have been the agent that would have been in charge or been assigned the case or the matter of trying to retrieve the Solex. That would have been very interesting, and so that would have meant that would have given her more prominence, I think. It's just, it's unfortunate, as you say, that it was written that way, and that she's very much hanging on the affections of Bond and wanting to be with Bond and all this, which I mean, I don't mind so much, because I think it's human beings sometimes, or maybe oftentimes, are attracted to other people, and so I think it's okay to show this kind of attraction in a film, and she's obviously very attracted to Bond, so I'm okay with that kind of depiction. Okay, but as you indicate, it's just she's right. It would have been better if she had more stuff to do, and so. But again, I feel that way too, because I think I really like what Britt Ekland was doing or trying to do with the role. And I thought she was, very charming and very energetic. And there's a certain life that happens when she is on screen, I think. But yeah, that's also one of the parts where I think it could have been, it could have been better. And I'm not saying that the performance is bad, but I think the performance is really good, in fact. But it's just, I think the actual role itself needed to be much more delineated in a different way in order to, I think, to have her character be more effective and memorable. But yeah, I agree with you. Let's see. Yeah. something came up. Good night, sir. Yeah. You know, yeah. Damful says usually overlooked is the amazing set design. Yes, yes, Scaramanga's Island for sure, but also the queue. Yes, the base. It's stunning. It's actually in terms of the way things are tilted. Yes, actually, I always get confused. I don't know how you feel, but there's a moment where I get a little bit. It's almost like being seasick when I see the film. I'm really confused and I get a little bit dizzy when I try to make out what the whole geography concept of the set is every time you see it, and it's interesting how that works out. So it's I think that's a sign of a very effective set design. So I agree with you 100%, my friend. Henok, hello, my friend. Secret agent on whose side? Yeah, so a reference to a line that Pepper says in Live and Let Die. And in fact, there's a little quote to Live and Let Die when we get a close-up of Pepper, and that I can't mimic it, but he smiles, and then it's da 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 when you see the boat chase. I mean, there's another boat chase here as well, which is interesting. And in fact, Bond does a similar thing that he did in Live and Let Die, where he hides, and then he waits for the villain to be sort of, where is he, and then he comes out, and then he does the thing. So it's the Live and Let Die trick again. Played to a similar effect here. It gets the job done. So okay, so this leads me actually very conveniently to a discussion of Roger Moore's performance here as Bond. Okay, so Roger Moore, I love Roger Moore. I think he's great. This is for me perhaps the most distinct and different in terms of the Roger Moore performances of Bond that we've seen throughout the entire run. He is much meaner, or his Bond here is much meaner. He loses his patience a lot. He is very aggressive. There's a moment where he sees Maud Adams, Miss Anders in the hotel, a water pistol, and then he's really. It's shocking how physically aggressive and almost uncomfortable at times to see how physically aggressive he is with her. It's been described, I think, as they were trying to Sean Connery-ize Roger Moore's Bond, and I mean, I can kind of see that. I always thought of it actually as Roger Moore's Bond here, or James Bond, being impatient, because after all, at that moment, Miss Anders did have a gun on him. And he is on a kind of an unofficial mission where he's trying to find Scaramanga, and he's still thinking, I think, that Scaramanga is out to get him. So maybe there's this pressure, feeling that he's going to get killed at any moment. I don't know. If that's the case, it doesn't show, because Roger Moore is still that same affable, unflinching Roger Moore that he is. So he's not always this aggressive, impatient Bond. There are moments where he shines as Roger Moore. He looks dashing. He looks so handsome. There's a moment where he does the Roger Moore thing where, like, okay, so I'm going to have Hip do all the work and trying to find the lead with high fat. So I'm going to have Hip. He's going to do all the work. So while he's doing all the work, I'm not going to help him. I'm just going to stay here at the hotel at night having dinner in the Foo Yuck scene and everything. I'm going to have dinner with you, good night. So Hip can finally, so there's really nothing else that we can do tonight. Or is there, right? So that's classic Roger Moore Bond right there. He lets it, right? He's right. It's about the mission. He's Bond, of course, but if there's a moment where he can find some downtime, he's going to take it, and he takes it in style. He takes it in style. And that, I mean, a lot has been made of maybe this is a 70s Bond, and maybe 70s Bond is very politically incorrect, especially in today's time. So I get that. So there are moments where it could be uncomfortable to some people who are watching it in 2020. Okay, but still, it's a film of its time, and we understand this, and so that's part of what it is we do when we watch films, Bond films, or any films. Okay, so with that understanding, there are some moments where he's very like. The one that gets to me all the time when he says to Goodnight after he's had his I guess 2 hours with Miss Anders, and Goodnight's been in the closet all the time, It's amazing, actually, that she was able to sleep. If you can think that if you're in the closet, you could probably hear everything that's going on. But okay, but anyway, so after Goodnight is out of the closet, and she says, "Oh, it's two. I've been here for 2 hours. I'm resigning in the morning." And then Bond's trying to console her by saying, "Your time will come." But that's so like male chauvinist and conceited. Oh my goodness! Wow, wow, unbelievable stuff. But that's the thing. That's part of the overall humor of this. And it's as I say, depending on your point of view, it could be shocking, but it's just you either go with it or you don't. Okay, so that's part of the Roger Moore performance, and I think overall, when we think of it, it's part of his appeal, and it's great to see. And then there are some moments that are just, I think, iconic Roger Moore Bond stuff, like when there's in the duel. And then it's, they walk 20 paces. Incidentally, I love where her Knick-Knack says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when he says 11, he says 11, 12. And he's for whatever reason, Knick-Knack really gets into it when he hits 11, right? So, wow, but 11, 12, right? So, but, and then of course the high point is 17 to 20, right? And then when Bond turns, there's that moment where he turns. It's like gun barrel James Bond, and he does the turn. That is so cool. What a cool moment that is. And he's got the sort of button down. Not one button is unbuttoned on his shirt, and it's very cool. And there's a moment where he has the gun up. You can see what I guess they call it the James Bond cuffs now, made famous I think by Turnbull and Asser back in the Terrence Young days with Sean Connery. But cool stuff. Very cool stuff. So he looks dashing and he has the part, but then there are moments when he's snappy and impatient. He's impatient with Goodnight when he's trying, just push every button or something, and with Miss Anders, of course. Then there's the moment, and I go back to the boat chase with the little kid and the elephant. Okay, all right. I don't know how you feel about this. Let's just clear the air here and just figure it out. Are we for or against Bond and the little boy scene? Yeah, I don't know. I suppose, right? The boy was really irritating everyone in terms of really being overly insistent that they buy the elephant. We understand he's probably from poverty. I'm not sure, but he's just doing his best to get some money. But then we don't know what the little boy's situation is. But he just pushes him. Oh my goodness! He uses him, pushes him out. And that's it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a moment that comes and goes, I suppose. But yeah. There's that moment where he's like. When the little boy smiles, is it, you're a very handsome man, 40 baht. For you, mister, 20 baht. And he smiles, and he just looks so cute, And then whereas the thing is 20,000 baht, and he's just so happy. He is so happy after he's helped. I guess it was the fuel line that needed to be, the gauge needed to be switched there. And he just pushes him out of the way. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. It's this is mean Bond. He's very mean, very impatient. But I don't know. I guess what would the other Bonds have done in the similar situation? So what would Sean Connery have done with the little kid if Sean Connery were in this film? Would he have done the same thing? Maybe he would. I don't know. He's like, I'll give you 20,000 baht if you could help me get this boat running. And then, okay, 20. Go for a swim, or something. I don't know. But and what would maybe Pierce Brosnan would have been a little bit nicer. I don't know. I'll give you 20,000 baht if you get me, kid. Let's get out of here. And then maybe they run. Maybe they ride the boat off to the dock, and then they get off, and Pierce Brosnan and the boy are running away like this, and the Pierce Brosnan. I don't know. Or what would George Lazenby have done if he was in this? I'll give maybe he would have done it in the Sir Hilary Bray voice. I don't know. Elephants make me nervous. Hell, I'll give you 20,000 baht. Okay. And maybe he would have just casually gotten off the dock and north of the Caspian or something like that. I don't know. And then what would maybe Timothy Dalton have done in the situation with the little boy and the elephant? I don't. Well, gosh, what would Timothy Dalton have done? Would he have done the same thing? I don't know what he would have done. You know, maybe he would have been like, maybe he'll take. You took the elephant, like, here's your damn elephant, and he tried to squeeze it like the Schmiert-Spion balloon, and he just breaks the elephant, and just, and then maybe that really intimidates the boy to make him, like, just maybe want to swim away himself. I don't know. And then Timothy Dalton would have realized, oh, he could just turn it by himself. I don't know. He would have been the elephant, Schmiert-Spion him, you know, or something. But, and then Craig, what would Craig have done? That's an interesting thing. Like the boys on the boat, like Craig's like, you know, why are you here? What are you doing? It's like, oh, you know, help me. It's okay. I'll do it. I'll do it all myself. Don't worry about it. And it just doesn't. I don't know. Anyway, so it's interesting, a little thought experiment right there with the boy and James Bond. But okay, but overall, yeah, Roger Moore and Philip McCritchie. I'm at your comment, and it's perfect timing, my friend. You say Roger Moore is truly as a truly fantastic Bond. I believe it. Yes, yes. Irwin says elephants were Democrats, Maybell. Yes, that's right. And Zarothra, yes, the ship interior is amazing. Just pausing the film to look at. Yes. Seth Walsh, Bond pushing Goodnight into that closet after you can have. I feel like that Bond is one smart chap. Let's see. Damn Fool. Another is that this is the last non-scope film of the original series, and there's something special about the 5 spherical shot films visual. Yes. Island 007100. I just read an amusing anecdote. When Christopher Lee came to the U.S. to promote the film, his golden gun was confiscated by customs. You should have had it, you know, in the lighter, the pen, and everything like that. Yeah. Philip says, I actually think The Spy Who Loved Me is the best Bond film. We'll get to that one hopefully very soon, I hope. Yeah. Damn Fool says, that's what I always thought JW said, but now I think it's actually their Democrats. Yes, that's actually, is it we're Democrats or their Democrats? It's hard to tell, actually. But why would he say their if she wants to buy an elephant? Right? They're Democrats. Is it, maybe he's confused? Maybe I'm confused. Am I getting it wrong? Elephants, I understand, are associated with the Republican Party, right? They've always been associated with the Republican Party, right? And it's the donkey that's associated with the Democratic Party. So if she wants to buy a wooden elephant, why would he say they're Democrats? Wouldn't he say they're Republicans? I don't know. But anyway. Okay. All right. So, let's see. Henoch says, yeah. The customs had no idea that the gun was harmless. Damn Fool, even better was Lee coming out of his hotel room with the gun and running into Billy Wilder, who threw his hands up in mock surrender. Yeah. Philip says the Thailand location in Golden Gun was impeccably chosen. Yes. And Damn Fool in the parts, in PDS, the man is an assassin. He is a pro and is the latest in the rivals brought in just to keep Scaramanga's eye up in practice. Yes. The gangster, yes. This is Irwin talking about the gangster, the funhouse, yes. The groovy funhouse scene, says Seth Walsh. Damn Fool, Knick-Knack enjoys toying with his boss. Yes. Maybe Knick-Knack was a little bit peeved at the way that Scaramanga says Tabasco or something. I don't know. Right away, Mr. Scaramanga. Yes. Knick-Knack. What if? Okay, I'm sorry. I'll get to the chat in a moment, but first I have to address the villains here. So Scaramanga, I think, is okay. The villains are I would say Scaramanga, obviously, Knick-Knack, Craw. Again, shout out to anyone who is a Craw fan. Any Craw fans out there? So Craw, and also High Fat. So I think, and then all the people who work in a High Fat's organization. We're not sure if High Fat's organization is legitimate or maybe partly legitimate, partly criminal. I'm not sure, but he is in any ways somehow associated with the energy industry. Okay, so and let's see. So excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. Let's see. Okay, so the villains. right? And so this is, I think, a really interesting rogues gallery. I think made even more interesting. High Fat, of course, it's the organization and the money, and it's through his essential plan that he wants Scaramanga to get the Solex. But unfortunately, Scaramanga has ideas of his own, and of course Scaramanga shoots High Fat in that great scene where we actually see how the golden gun is the golden gun in terms of the assembly of the various parts that look different, which I think is a really clever idea. Very, very clever. And it makes for a really weird looking, like, box kind of gun. It's almost like, I don't know, when I was a kid and I was trying to make, like, I don't know, toy guns or something like that, I cut out bits of cardboard and I'd make like this thing. You'd have a bit for the handle, and you have a bit for the barrel, and you just essentially tape them together. I have this square gun. It reminds me of that shape, you know. Mine is obviously not as artistically elegant as the golden gun, of course, but it has that weird look to it. But I think that adds to the sophisticated sense of confusion and oddness that's part of the greatness of this film. So it's a wonderful design, and it's practical too, which I love. And it's made of gold, which is it's practical, yet it's the perfect expression of the sort of excess of luxury that Scaramanga seems to be obsessed by. So which great stuff. So so there's that. But High Fat, I must say that I would have, I don't know, I think High Fat was maybe a little bit underused. I think he could have been a really interesting villain had he been given more screen time, but that's just the way the film plays out, so I get that. I must say that High Fat, I give him a lot of credit. He fights to the very end, even when he's shot, and he's like, you know, he's very, as he's trying to get ready, he's like, you know, take the Solex, you know, and as he gives him the Solex, which is this huge valuable thing, he's like, you know, now I regret even having hired you in the first place. And he's like really putting him down while he's giving him this really important bit of machinery. And then, right, Scaramanga leaps to the opportunity. He just puts the gun together. And he's like, you know, oh, that's no problem. And I love the little, oh, that's no problem. And he's got that little shake of his body before, you know, points his gun like that, and he leans back a little. He doesn't just go like that. He leans back and then boom. And then High Fat, what he does, right? He's like, ah, and he does this thing which is so, I don't know, it's so cool. I hope I'm never shot, right? But if I'm ever like in a movie or something like that, if I'm in a movie and I play a character that gets shot on screen, I will always want to insist to the director, okay, this is my death scene, but I want to die the way that High Fat dies in The Man with the Golden Gun. If I get shot, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna fight to the very, I'm gonna stand, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna stay alive on the table, I'm gonna keep up, I'm gonna stay up, right? That is like that. He fights to the very end, High Fat. So great. So of course it doesn't work. But if I were to be shot as a character in a movie, then I would insist to the director, please let me do the same thing with my hands and try to keep my balance and keep myself standing by supporting myself on a table. And maybe the director says, oh, there is no table in this scene. I would say, oh, well, please bring me a table and we'll do that scene. So anyway, that's the High Fat moment there. Although, again, I must admit that High Fat is a little bit, he suffers from the James Bond villain syndrome of, we have Bond captured, but let's take him to school. Oh, I'm sorry. And speaking of which, we do have other villains in the Rogues Gallery. Speaking of the school, we have the people who are in the school, including the long-haired guy. I guess his name is Tashman, and he's a little bit. He's very good with the kata, I suppose, and he's got the long hair. But when Bond comes out, he's a little bit too cocky for his own good. You can see it in his strut, and he gets kicked, of course. And then Chula. Or shall we say, Chula, 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 Chula. Okay, and then so Chula comes, and then he has the fight. Chula's pretty good, but surprisingly, Bond is very effective in terms of his fighting. I must admit, it reminds me a little bit of I love Roger Moore. I love Roger Moore, don't get me wrong, and I love John Saxon. I love these great performers. I love them to bits, don't get me wrong, but it does have that, I do get that sense that that Bolo versus Roper in Enter the Dragon type of vibe in the scene, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, it's part of the fun. Okay, so those are part of the Rogues Gallery. But we never see Chula and the gang again. We hear about Chula because Haifat is so upset that they let him escape, etc. But anyway, so there's so he's part of the villain dynamic. Then we have, of course, Knick Knack, who is one of, I think, the most memorable and iconic villains in Bond film history. There is a conniving aspect to him, and there's a persistence. He doesn't give up. Knick Knack fights to the very end, and he will use everything. He will use deceit, deception, deceit, treachery, in order to get what it is he wants. And he's he uses his physicality to his advantage. I mean, it would seem, obviously, at first glance, it would seem that he is physically, anyway, incapable of matching the strength level of, say, a Bond or someone like that. But he uses his physical traits to his advantage, and to escape and to try to be clandestine and hide, etc. And he does a little trick. I don't know about you, but I don't know if it's due to any weaknesses of Hip, or if it's due to the strengths of Knick Knack. I don't know, but how in the heck did Knick Knack get the Solex from the dead Gibson outside the Bottoms Up Club, right? How did that happen? It's really interesting because, right, according to Hip afterwards, when they're debriefing M, or they're giving their brief at M in the middle of the Queen Elizabeth there, Hip indicates that Gibson showed Hip the Solex, put it in his pocket, and then after he was shot, he searched him. It wasn't there. So the assumption being that Gibson was shot at the moment the Solex was in his pocket, then he falls to the ground, and then there's that whole confusion, and then Knick Knack slowly comes toward the body. At the same time, Hip has the ruse of being a police officer, arresting Bond at the moment, and then taking him into the car, into custody, and then going back and says, get away from there, get away from there. And then we cut to him in the car. So, in fact, if you look, I don't know when Hip would have been able to go to the body. I suppose there's one moment where the camera's, he's off screen just enough that we can imagine that maybe he went to the body after Knick Knack had been seen near the body. So, but in any event, Knick Knack does some really quick movement there in order to be able to get the Solex in time, and he does so. He's very effective. And then he's also a very good chef, a cordon bleu, according to Scaramanga, and again, he's really good with counting. He's very aggressive especially with the numbers 11 and 20. And he just right, mushrooms is for lunch and the like, and he is able to use all the tricks to his advantage to fight to the very end. But unfortunately, it's not enough, because Bond is able to get the upper hand, and he's up there at the very end, and he is essentially the final shot of the film. Poor Knick Knack at the end there. You know, I don't know about you, but that is pretty cruel stuff. But maybe Bond had enough, and Knick Knack was essentially really trying to kill him. So maybe that was justification enough for Bond to do what he did at the very end there to Knick Knack. But in any event, Knick Knack, wow, what a villain. What a villain indeed. And then that brings us to the man with the golden gun, Francisco Scaramanga. Wow, this is one of the great villains, I think. A comment was made earlier about how maybe it would have been interesting, and it's been made elsewhere as well, about how this could have been an interesting match between a Sean Connery Bond and a Christopher Lee Bond. And I get that. There's a certain physicality of presence and the like, but Be that as it may, if we look at Scaramanga in isolation, I think he, of course, turns out to be this epic character. He seems to be maybe trying to be toe-to-toe in physicality and marksmanship, a match for Bond. Maybe Bond is a little bit more of a gourmand. Right? Bond seems to be able to know wines a little bit more than Scaramanga, or at least Scaramanga suggests, though, I should... he writes down the name of the wine, etc. So maybe that's suggestive. Maybe Scaramanga doesn't know about wines, or maybe he's just letting on that he doesn't know. Scaramanga doesn't know about science as much as Bond does, which is why Bond seems to know more on site when they visit the solar energy facility. And Scaramanga, in the Charles Gray Blofeld mode, says, right, science wasn't his strong point. So that might seem, that shows that Bond certainly has an edge, maybe in terms of intellect, perhaps, but in terms of, or at least as Scaramanga might want him to perceive it to be, I don't know. But in any event, we still get a physical presence and a commanding one. And there are moments when he has dialogue, Christopher Lee Scaramanga does, throughout the first half of the film, but it's more or less a silent performance, which also reminds me a lot of Red Grant and Robert Shaw in the film From Russia with Love, and the use of non-dialogue until key moments. And so in a sense, he is a hitman or a thug. He himself is the henchman to Hi-Fat, but then he promotes himself after Hi-Fat resigns. He always did like that mausoleum. Put him in it, right? And that sort of thing. So, what a great villain he is. What a great villain he is. And I like also that he shows vulnerability and surprise. I love the moment when he is shot and there's that moment of surprise, and he realizes that he was outwitted by Bond with the thing there. And speaking of which, Bond, wow, the fact that he was able to remove the statue, take off the coat, take off the gun, and do everything there in the matter of seconds, and without Scaramanga catching on in terms of the noise that it might have been generated. Wow, kudos to Bond to be able to pull that off. Because, right, we see that he was underneath the structure and he dropped his gun because he stuffed it in his pants there, and he's dropped it, or it fell out and it fell to the bottom there. So unless we assume that he went down to the very bottom, retrieved his gun, and went back up, I think that's probably not possible given the amount of distance that we can assume there was because of the echo. So we can assume that he uses the gun, which is part of the whole statue to begin with. Although it begs the question, why would Scaramanga use an actual loaded gun as part of the statue? But maybe that's part of the thing. He wants everything to be, I suppose, as real as possible, including down to the props in terms of the use of guns. So it was actually fortunate for Roger's Bond that he, I would assume, used a real gun for the prop there. But anyway. And I'm not sure, is it when at the opening pre-title sequence, when it's the reveal and the gangster is dead and da-da, and then we get the long shot of Scaramanga, Knick-Knack, and that line, you'll be the death of me yet, Knick-Knack. Is it me, or is it, that's not a dummy, right? That's actually Roger Moore, because if you can kind of tell that he's doing the thing where someone is standing, but because of blood circulation and oxygen, etc., you can kind of tell that there's that little thing where you see that I'm moving a little bit. It might be imperceptible, but I'm moving. And he's an actor, so he could do it much better than I. But you can kind of, maybe there's a little bit of a movement like that. So it's not a perfect dumb. It's not like, I don't think it's one of these Baron Samedi type of creations. I don't know. I could be wrong, of course, but oh well. But just going back and concluding on Scaramanga, this is one of the best villains, and it's when he is driving and he's just so kind of cool, and nothing shakes him. even when he just looks in the, he's just, all right, I'm just going to do what it is I do. And he's just no nonsense when it comes to that. And I love his smile when he is looking through the binoculars there, and he's just laughing. And just his walk in his short sleeve shirt when he's showing Bond around. And so there's this real elegance about him, and he has as I say, a physical presence. I suppose the only thing that I would say about Scaramanga here is, why did he go to all the trouble of introducing himself to Bond at the boxing match, where after Miss Anders has been seen to be dead, and she's dead, motionless and lifeless there, and Bond is sitting next to Scaramanga, or Scaramanga comes down and on purpose sits next to Bond. He says, and he introduces himself. He says, "My name is Scaramanga, Francisco Scaramanga. I believe I know you, although we've never officially met," right? That's what he says. And he goes into the story about the circus and the elephant and the trainer and an eye for an eye, nut, and the like. So, and this is his life story, and it's a really tragic tale, actually. But I never understood that, to be perfectly honest, from a practical standpoint, because we understand that up to now, no one in the British Secret Service knew what Scaramanga looked like, right? They didn't have a photo on file, so they didn't know who he looked. They didn't know what his physical appearance was, and so he could have gone on in life, and just it would have been okay, right? So he would have still been unknown, I suppose. But now that he introduces himself to Bond, then he becomes known, and Bond now has this physical description of him, and so it becomes part of the MI6 database, I suppose. So maybe he didn't know that they didn't know what he looked like. I'm not sure, but in any event, I always thought that to be, why would he do that? It doesn't, but anyway, it's to his advantage that he remains unknown, at least in terms of physical description. But anyway, so, okay, but still, undeniably, great villain, great physical, and there's this evilness that he has. I think for me, the most evil moment that he has is when he returns from after killing Gibson, and he's got the gun, and the romantic music of John Barry, and he returns to the boat, and Maud Adams' character is there, and she's in bed, and he comes back and he pulls out the gun, and it's this weird thing, this weird kinky, he thinks it's kinky or erotic, I don't know, to rub her with the gun, with the barrel of the gun, which is, obviously very suggestive, of course. And he's really frustrated at the point he does the thing with like the mouth and like, just wow, just really evil stuff. Really, oh my goodness. But anyway, that and the way he says Tabasco, those are the two most evil moments of Scaramanga, perhaps. But anyway. Whenever, there's Tabasco. I don't have Tabasco sauce that much anymore, unfortunately. But when I did, I'd always say to myself, in the Christopher Lee voice, "Knick-knack, Tabasco." No one would get the joke whenever it happened. No one would get the joke, but I got the joke in my heart. So, and then last but not least, there's Craw. So any Craw fans, please let me know. Okay. And then so let me stop there and now go back to the chat, because I've been monopolizing the time. I apologize. Please forgive me for my rudeness. Okay. Henoch says, yes, about Mark Lawrence. Henoch's talking about the third nipple. Let's see. Irwin, funny moment when Knick-Knack breaks the fourth wall when Bond hits the glass. Philip says nipple cropping. Oh yes, I was talking about the I guess the crop, or what I perceive to be the cropping of the letterbox format for purposes of TV broadcast. Let's see, I'm sorry, I'm skipping down through a number of comments. Let's see. Damn Fool says he's meant to be, I guess referring to Mark Lawrence, the character, he's meant to be a typical brainless gangster. Yeah, he sweats a lot too at the key moment. I like how he fires the gun too. He doesn't, when he's in the fun house, he doesn't go like this. He's like that. I like that. It's, let's see. Um, all right. Cooper Glover says, I fooled you. Yeah, yeah. That's interesting too because, um, what is it? In the opening or the pre-titles sequence, Knick-Knack is antagonizing Scaramanga, but over the intercom, right? But in the final duel, he is antagonizing Bond, and you'd think if you were to play along with the whole ruse that, oh, if you kill him, all this be mine. That's what he says. You'd think that he would still go along with it and not antagonize Bond, but antagonize Scaramanga. But maybe he's saying, this is at the point everyone knows that we are all against Bond. So maybe that was the reason why. But oh well. There's a moment too where it's just a little detail. I know when he's running up the spiral staircase in the kitchen, he goes into the control room. He does the thing, and the chair lifts up. I don't know. That's such a cool moment. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, when Seth Walsh, when the girl pours the ginger ale. Yeah, so you're talking about the girl, the bartender in the bottoms up club with the strategically aligned long hair, right, over her body. And so, yes, and that's to Gibson, right? And I think that's the girl who appears at the very outset of the title sequence, right? The da 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 da, right? It looks like the same young woman. So, yeah, that is a. Let's see. Yeah, Cooper Glover says at the end of the film, after Knick-Knack is put in the box, it seems like Roger Moore's voice suddenly sounds weird, like dubbed when he says, right, "Shut up," right? He said, "Shut up." Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so there's Fantasy Island. Reverend Kyle Love says, just stopping to say hi. Yes, thank you. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. Yes, thank you. And likewise, my friend, thank you very much. Cooper Zyroth says, yeah, it is dubbed. Yeah, there are other bits. I don't know. I can't. It's also true about Osun Tech, right? The actor who plays Hip. His voice is dubbed too, right? But not everywhere. Some moments you can tell it's his real voice. Other moments it's probably, is that right? It's dubbed. It has a little bit of a higher register, but there are moments when it has a lower register, as though maybe it's him and it's the dubbing process that makes it sound different. I don't know, but I think that's true with Hip as well. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I should say too. I think I love Osun Tech. I love his comments in the comment in the documentary, the making of documentaries. Like, I told my agent, I don't want to play a houseboy. I don't want to play a gardener or something like that. And that really shows maybe the sort of inherent issues that maybe Asians and Asian Americans had in terms of acting in big budget studio pictures or big budget films of this nature. So yeah, it's yeah, and I think I like his. There are moments I've mentioned before where Hip as a character, I'm like, what the heck is he doing? Like the car thing, I think is unforgivable, to be perfectly honest. And I know he's doing his best to get a taxi. He's like, taxi, but it's, I mean, I don't know, is it? But anyway, so Bond has to take the initiative on it, right, and just go and chase Scaramanga. And then, but I love when he's fighting, and he's fighting the school, outside the school there, and there's a moment where he's running towards the men, but he slides on the gravel ground there, or the dirt road there, and he starts fighting. He's got that. I thought that was so cool. What a cool moment. And I like he's able to talk. He's able to give exposition while he's fighting. Wow, and he's smiling, and it's great stuff. So I like that that rapport that he has with Bond. There's a good teamwork there, and I also like that he doesn't die too. I mean, it would have been something that maybe he played like the character that ends up being the sacrificial lamb type of character, but he wasn't. He was an agent on the field, and so that was great. But there are some issues with the character and how situations are set up. Let me put it that way. It's I suppose it's the good night bum against the consul situation. So yeah, and but yeah, so scrolling down this chat here. I'm sorry about this. I apologize for talking about that James Bond line at the end. Shut up. Henoch says perhaps it was Guy Hamilton dubbing Roger. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, and Cooper Glover says, I don't think Hervé Villechaize liked being suspended in that basket at the end of the film. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I my goodness, I can't imagine what that. Oh wow, yeah, I can't imagine what that would have been like. But okay, all right, here we go. And my chat screen has jumped again, so I've been cut off again. Oh, this is very frustrating. So now my chat has jumped, so the earliest comment I can see is Cooper Glover 1972 says, I always want to take a long boat ride from China. So that's referring to the line from Goodnight. I always want to take a slow boat from China. No, 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 right? Yeah. So sorry about this. So again, the live chat here jumped on me. So I'm going to skip over a bunch of the comments. So I really apologize. So I'm just now based on what I'm having here. Yeah, Damfool says Barry disapproved of his work because it was so rushed, but it's an amazing work for being done in about a week and a half. It's great. It's really great. Of course, incidental, but we're also related to the score is the song. The song, I love the song. It's a great. It has a lot of information. And it has a lot of what is it? It has I love the lyric to it. I mentioned it last time, but I love how Lulu pronounces the word victim. Means another poor victim. I love that. Whenever I hear her sing the word victim, I don't know, dude. In the U.S., for those of you who are do they still have those things like the things that you take for indigestion? Was it Tums? Do you remember that thing? Do they still have it like Tums? And they had the commercial on TV in the U.S. What was it? It was like Tum, or maybe what was it? Was it in the UK as well? Please forgive me if I'm mistaken, but Tums. I think it was in the US. The commercial, the jingle for the commercial was Tum ta tum tum tum. But was it also in the UK as well? And in the UK, the jingle it wasn't tum ta tum tum tum, but it was tum ta tum tum tum, or something like that. Please forgive me if I'm really bad when it comes to Tums history. But my point is that whenever I hear the Lulu sung song, The Man with the Golden Gun, and that moment comes along, I always think in my mind Tums, and indigestion. But I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I mean that in a completely positive way. Anyway, yeah, that's a great song. And it has a lot of info there. It's like, okay, love is required whenever he's hired. It comes just before the kill. Okay, so that means that whenever Scaramanga is hired, he has to make love before he goes out and does the mission, which is another weird, like it's interesting, weird detail. It's hinted at in the film before the assassination on Gibson, of course, but I think that's pretty much it. But what was I saying? I mean, it's interesting. It's sort of the reverse of what I understand like boxing training to be. My understanding is, for example, if one is training to be a professional boxer, the whole idea is that the physical what is it, carnal satisfaction is withheld in order to create a stronger urge and edge in terms of fight and physical prowess. And once the fight has been completed, then certain urges can be satisfied. Sexual urges, maybe dietary urges in terms of wanting to eat instead of having to slim down and diet for the fight, etc. So I always thought, therefore, that the withholding of satisfaction of sexual urges was a way for people to keep one's edge. But for Scaramanga, it's the opposite. So that's very interesting. Maybe it means, maybe for him, creating, once the urge has been satisfied, maybe then being able to focus one's attention on the mission at hand. So maybe that's the incident. But anyway, let's see. Okay. Keep going. Yeah, a damn fool indicates the penny slide whistle was a mistake. Everyone's talking about the soundtrack not being available on Spotify. Okay. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Scrolling down here. Yeah, Cooper Clever, 1972. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I love how Scaramanga is just so cocky. He won't even bother to look himself. He's like, what are you, he's just like clothes, like, what are you doing? And he's putting my jewelry away. And so we see that the Solix is in the safe. So, and we assume that she gets it later. Erwin says the music theme during the Beirut fight is also pretty unique. Yes, da 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 da. Right, that one. That's great stuff. Dun, 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 dun. And there's a moment too in the fight where they knock over a mirror and you actually see the reflection of the crew in the white lights. It's great. There's a moment where he's trying to get the charm from the belly button area of Saida. And like the music, and then she puts his hand on another part of her, her body, her rear, and he does that like little, yeah, okay, and then he's just this great hand acting from Roger Moore. I love the way that he says the word abdomen in that scene, by the way. And then you've got the fight, another fight. It's like a lot of like bald, beefy men in Roger Moore films. So we get this, we get Spy Who Loved Me, we get, I guess he doesn't really fight against the guy in Rio in Moonraker, but there's that guy, he runs away from the crashing cable car there. But yeah, it's interesting. Let's see. Okay. Oh, Sculder22 is here. Hello. And it's got great, yeah, Roger Moore's acting is brilliant in that early scene, the Beirut fight, and the way he indicates, and he swallows the thing, and he's still able to, and he also uses the perfume, so it's also this instance where he's using some kind of cosmetic or toiletry good. In Live and Let Die, he uses he uses the thing in the bathroom and then lights it in order to get rid of the snake. And here, it's a similar sort of thing, like perfume, I suppose, or something, or what's it, eau de toilette, I think, I'm not sure, but let's see. Yeah. Yeah, Henoch says, from the martial arts sequence, there are Enter the Dragon-esque moments. Yes, I agree, all the way down to the Roper-Bolo dynamic, yeah. Yeah, Erwin says, Hip driving us is definitely the second dumbest moment in the film. You might have mentioned it somewhere else in the chat. Maybe the first dumbest, maybe is the whistle sound, I don't know. Let's see. The students arriving to the fighting area is a great piece of music. Yes. It is really great. Um, Seth says, Roger Moore pretending to be Scaramanga is a great scene. It should have been enough to dispel critics calling him a bland Bond. Great sets, great costumes, great gadgets in the running for best Bond. I agree. Oh yeah, incidentally, that there's also the I get the whole joke about the girl in the pool, chew me. I get it. That's yeah. I can understand, but I have a similar reaction to that when similar to the foo yuck stuff. But okay, anyway, um, let's see. Let's see. Um, the one silly shot, according to Damn Fool, the one silly shot is where Bond lands in the seaplane and has that rocking motion. That's interesting. Yeah, yeah, the seaplane. Yeah. Um, the Solex, Heddock says the Solex waxed out the seaplane. From what I mentioned, yes, with the laser that has no beam, no visible beam. I guess it could have been if it had a visible like red beam or something. That would have been a cinematic effect, really great. But well, yeah. Wolfgrat says, "Indeed, I will confess to hating that car jump sound." Yeah, the sound. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Irwin says, with that stunt, I just turn off the sound for a couple of seconds. But if you turn off the sound, are you able to turn it back up again to catch the scream of Pepper? Wowee! Right? I've never done that before. Neither have I, actually. Um, excuse me. Cooper Glover, 1972, says that bridge jump of the car was the only one taken that could have possibly killed the stunt driver. Yeah, it was pure luck, and the only time it was attempted. Yeah, pure luck, and also really a lot of planning went into it. But yeah, you're absolutely right, and the documentary goes into really great detail about the planning, and especially at the time in terms of the technology available in terms of the planning or the pre-planning process, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the flying car gadget, yes, yes, yeah. Seth says they definitely needed to play the Bond theme at the car jump scene. Yeah, yeah. Erwin says it rivals the Tarzan yell from Octopussy in terms of dumb sound choices. Yeah, yeah. That yeah. We'll talk about that one when we get there. Although you mentioned Octopussy, my favorite one of my favorite lines from Octopussy. Please let me say it is, ah, good. Let the sport commence. I love that scene. I love that line from Kamal Khan because that was the line that was used in, I think it was the LWT advert for the film Octopussy. You know, the film that we'll show next week is Octopussy, and it had the little clips of all from the films. Let the sport commence. Ah, yeah, yeah. I'm with the economy tour, so yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that one at a later date, hopefully. Yeah. Um, yeah. Another similar moment that's like that in terms of is where Bond is in the bear hug with the sumo wrestler, and he's the only thing he can do is like try to squeeze the buttocks cheeks of the sumo wrestler guy, and it this does the thing of wah wah wah. You know, it has that wah 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 type of oh, look, laugh at this kind of, oh, he's squeezing the behind of this guy, you know. And then he has the idea of the turning the belt or turning the 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 um, the what the guy is wearing. And so I was like, oh, you know, you didn't really need that, but oh well. Yeah, but let's see. So, and just moving forward here. Let's see. The Dutch film buff says James Bond flicks are always cartoonish, especially the Moore films. I have no problem with the sound effect during the jump. Thank you very much. Thank you. Excuse me. Irwin says, if The Man with the Golden Gun were an 80s canon film, they would have shown that car stunt from multiple angles. Yeah, that and the plane exploding from the laser on the beach at the end there. Boom, 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 boom. You know, great stuff. Or maybe too. Again, I have to mention Craw falling into the vat there. You know. Yeah. Meek, let's see. Not Meek. Mike Eli. Hello, my friend. Hope all's well. Hello, my friend. It's nice to see you too. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Damfools is improbable that he, meaning Pepper, would be on vacation in Thailand at the same time, but we love him anyway. Later on, they brought Jaws into Moonraker because of the same audience adoration. Yes, I agree. Yes, I have no problem with bringing him back. Yeah. Yeah, Erwin says, commies? Yeah, go get him. I'm with you all the way. Yeah, that's, I mean, as I said earlier, there are two basic components to the Pepper sequences. So the first sequence and the second sequence. The first sequence, he's more of a bystander, but when he's active in the car, he's so lovable. And as I say, he's like a little boy just wanting to play in the playground with the popular kid in school. You know, I'm with you, right? And Bond is like, oh no, yeah. Oh, it's headquarters. Yeah, just stock. Yeah, and there's a moment too where Sheriff Pepper, he's outside of the window. He's like, "Oh, look at that car! Bring the car off the road." That's pretty dangerous stuff. He's like the whole the top part of his body is flying out of the car there, which is pretty dangerous. I think. Well done. I mean. You know, and that's a real car in a real street there, I think, and that's really excuse me, that's really Clifton James, right? So excuse me, so that's good job. Okay, Erwin says, the most problematic moment in the film for me is after Goodnight stood up against Bond. She still goes to his hotel room, yes. And he says, I'm weak. Yeah, and then gets put in the closet while, yes, Bond has sex with Andreas. Yeah, so gross. Yeah. And he says, adds insult to injury. Your turn will come, I promise. Yeah. Okay, so let me talk about the performances of Maud Adams and Britt Ekland here. So I think, there is a lot... I mean, we've mentioned before there's some problematic elements, I think, to the Goodnight character. But still, I truly believe Britt Ekland did the best that she could, given the role. And there is a real likable charm to her displays of earnestness and earnest affection. So I really enjoy that very much. But I've mentioned before, it would have been nice if she had been given more to do, maybe along the Solex agitator plot line. I don't know. So there's that. As far as Maud Adams is concerned, I think it's this wonderful thing where she has an undeniable screen chemistry with Roger Moore here, and of course later in Octopussy, in terms of the main roles that she appears in Bond films. And I always thought when I think I saw The Man with the Golden Gun. I think I saw Octopussy first, and then The Man with the Golden Gun. So I remember that first. I don't know how you felt, but that shock as a kid, you get, what? Wait, is this Octopussy in this film? Wow, my goodness! And wait a minute, she gets shot. She gets killed. Wow, that's shocking. Wait, no, she can't be killed. No, 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 she's got to be alive in order to be able to be Octopussy in the other film, right? But and so I was always trying to think, no, 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 that can't be. But I was really shocked at that moment when she's found dead like that, and it's being still really creepy, really creepy scene. And it shows really how much she is being essentially, as a character, used, not just by Scaramanga, but also by Bond in a way. But of course, Bond has ulterior motives because his mission is ultimately to try to get the Solex, and to try to, he has to use all the means at his disposal, I suppose, including trying to, in essence, use this young woman who really wants his help in trying to get out of this situation with Scaramanga. So it's kind of a no-win situation if you're trying to say which character we would like to ally ourselves to. But when it comes to Miss Anders and the treatment of Miss Anders, but be that as may, or given that, I think that Maud Adams here as Andrea Anders is really very. It's a very sensitive role, and she does it with a lot of delicacy and a lot of grace as well, and she has as a performer a really wonderful screen presence, and she displays a sense of almost like a being timid and being frightened, but also being stoic when she needs to be. So I think that's really good. And as I say, her character puts up with a lot of bad stuff, really a lot of bad stuff in the film. So I think the performance in that way shines through very effectively. And although I suppose we should say one thing, which is if it was, or if it were her motive, we understand later that it was she who sent the golden bullet to MI6 with 007, and to get the, it wasn't easy to get Scaramanga's fingerprints on the letter and all this stuff. So she arranged to have the whole thing sent to MI6 in order to have 007 rescue her from her situation from Scaramanga. And she knows 007, James Bond, because Scaramanga speaks of him like a rival, in an affectionate rivalry term. So that's his reputation has been built up in her mind because of that, we understand. So if that's the case, then why was it that she did not respond to him in a more positive way when she sees him in her hotel, when she does, right? So, and this is, I think, when after they ride the hydrofoil into Hong Kong in the hotel, if I'm not mistaken, and it's the whole thing with the shower and the water pistol thing and all that. So, so I don't quite understand that. Also, in the hydrofoil, the passenger amount, or the number of passengers doesn't seem to be that large, so you would think that maybe she would have spotted Bond or recognized him as one of the passengers on the same hydrofoil voyage. Also, he was around the table in Macau and the casino, the second level casino there. And so you think she would have spotted him across the way there. So are we to believe that maybe at this point in the film she doesn't know what Bond looks like? Well, that's possible, I suppose. And then later on, it's Thailand, right? In the hotel in Thailand, and so that's where she goes into his hotel room. She bribed the bellboy to get in, and that's where she reveals that it was she who sent the bullet. So maybe that explains it. Maybe she didn't know what Bond looked like. Although Bond statue was in the funhouse at Scaramanga's, but maybe she wasn't allowed inside that place. Who knows? But anyway. So there's kudos to Britt Eklund and Maud Adams, of course, for being. I think they have great performances here, really great. Again, the characters, I think, are quite. Some aspects of them, I think, are somewhat problematic, but. The performances, I think, really shine through in what they're doing. And again, a good night, of course, as a character gets a bad rap. I get this, but it's not her fault as a character, and I really want to believe she really is trying her best, and I can sense that. It's almost like, and we've spoken about Karamelovi. It's like Karamelovi trying to steer that plane. It's like, where's Bond? Oh, where's he? Oh, is he back there? Oh, it's just, just when you turn, just keep the hand steady, right? So, but you can understand. Now, I've never steered a plane like that. The Hercules, I've never steered a plane like this. It's probably very heavy to handle. So, okay, I can get that. And the same thing with the console and everything. And she has to wear a bikini because, we understand that maybe Scaramanga prefers it that way because, right, according to him, no concealed weapons. And so maybe she has to do this. So it makes her look even less effective. In terms of just standing around looking down in a bikini. So, but it's not her fault. It's not her fault. It's not like she wanted to do that. She's forced in that position and she doesn't understand the technical aspects of this console. So I can completely sympathize with her position and it's, like, I don't know about you, but I've nudged things unintentionally, right? Things maybe are in a cramped space, and I've nudged things. Like I have this thing next. You can't see it; it's off camera. But I have this thing. I nudged it, and there's some discs on there, and they fell down. And so I was like, oh, I unintentionally did this thing. So I can totally get it, and it just. I also get this sort of thing of the way in which the body part or the parts of the body that are being focused on. But I get that whole point as well. But the other thing I do want to suggest that she unintentionally nudged things, which is something that I do almost on a constant basis. So I completely get that. And also she's infatuated with Bond, and she just really wants to be with him. And so as I said before, that's just part of her character. And so I can see, I can give her her character a lot of the benefit of the doubt, let me put it that way. And then, of course, again, if it had been presented with her having more stuff to do, I think that would have been much better. But oh well, that's the way things go. Okay, goodbye, Steed, it's your hello. Let's see. I just keep scrolling down the chat here. I think there's talk about, maybe certain somewhat racist elements here, or maybe in the world of the Fleming literature, etc., like that. As I say, it's stuff that we should deal with and try to be as conscious about as possible. But at the same time, it's the whole thing about looking at something and the time period, etc., and the attitude, etc. So, let's see. Yeah, yes. Very interesting, excellent comments here in the live chat about this aspect of Fleming. So very good. Thank you very much. There's talk here about how Korean culture is expressed in Goldfinger, and I'll get to that as well when we talk about Goldfinger. Yes, Cooper Clever's talking about Goodnight. Daisuke, for the formula of a Bond film, at least for that time, Goodnight wouldn't go for the Solix, right? I guess she's portrayed as a bimbo in a bikini. Yeah, but again, that's the same thing. It's like how should I put it? Again, it wasn't. I don't think she wanted to be in a bikini necessarily. So, yeah. So, and she did show a lot of initiative in terms of Craw, and she did, lay him out quite effectively. So she was able to use her sex appeal to her advantage against Craw. So that was very impressive, I thought. Of course it was, and then Bond was like, "Oh, what did you do? You're now this whole place is gonna blow up because of you." But I would have been like, Bond, just take a moment, and be like, okay, that's good. I understand. That's okay. And maybe she didn't mean it. Maybe I mean, obviously, when she hit him, it wasn't her intention to have him fall into the thing and cause the whole place to become, you know, above 0 degrees, you know, to cause the place to explode and everything like that. So, I don't know. Bond says, is impressed a little bit by her initiative, and then he realizes what she actually did. But still, even at that point, I would have been, yeah, okay, it's understandable. Okay, we'll deal with the situation. So, okay. All right, so, okay. I think, let's see. Damful said, I think Goodnight in the film is an attempt to further the way Mankiewicz tried to play with the notion of the useless damsel. Yeah, so we did get something like this. I mean, the way that the female characters are portrayed, there is this. I mean, even Solitaire in Live and Let Die. Although there's a moment when she does try to kind of fight back. My only regret is I won't be there to see it. You know, that moment, I suppose, or you know, Tiffany Case and the machine gun, I suppose. But yeah, let's see. All right. Yeah, Kubrick Lover says, Goodnight might have had a little dignity in her character in opposition to Tiffany Case, who seemed to be a complete idiot, right? Maybe. Although, I mean, I did try to make my case for Tiffany Case in the Diamonds Are Forever live stream, and so I think it can be said that Tiffany Case is very very sharp, actually, very skilled. But you know, I understand that perception, though. You know, among people who watch Diamonds Are Forever, so based on how she's portrayed, etc. Okay. Yeah, Goodbye Steed says, all in all, huge fun. The Man with the Golden Gun, jumping on the martial arts bandwagon of the 70s. Yes. It's also, yes, thank you for the Enter the Dragon reference there with respect to the Hall of Mirrors type. Yes, that's a good point, yes. Let's see. I'm sort of scrolling down here. Yeah, Kubrick Lover 72 says, Roger Moore said he hated to be mean to the women on the set. Yeah. Him slapping Andrea, you can clearly see he's not right. He's not like Connery, right? According to Irwin. Yeah. Irwin says Moore's shooting pose is maybe the best of them all. Yeah, I think so. It's really cool. He looks so dashing, and he moves really quickly too. Yeah, it's I mean, his gun barrel, I think, from Spy onwards is I mean, it's probably somewhat slow. It's like or you know, let's do the spy version of the gun barrel music, na, 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 dun, 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 right? So it's a little bit different, right? But it's a little bit slower than the other gun barrels. I mean, the ultra fast one it's like you know, blink and you miss it fast, Quantum of Solace, you know? But what was I saying? Yes, so but that spin that Roger does at the duel on the beach there is really fast and really it's energetic. Great stuff. I like Roger's first gun barrel, by the way. I really like it. The Live and Let Die and the Man with the Golden gun barrel. Let's see. Ruba Kov is here. Hello, Ruba. It's nice to see you. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Erwin says that poor boy could have been crushed by the rotating engine in the water after being pushed in. Yes, that's a really good point. That makes that moment even worse. Oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, such a damn fool. Continues. Such a shame the elephant sales kid had to be. Okay, I love that. The elephant sales kid. That's a great description. I'm going to use that from now, so I'll refer to him as the elephant sales kid. Yeah, yeah, and once you think about it, it makes you go, oh no, Roger felt mortified, especially after becoming UNICEF ambassador. Yeah. Oh, what a terrible moment. The elephant sales. Okay. All right. Yes. Yes. Yes, and then Damphel says Pierce would have somehow had a pain face. Yeah, right. The pain face. I can't do it, but he sticks out his chin. Oh, right. Right when he's being squeezed by Onatop. Oh, yeah, yeah. Although, right, what would he if he right? How would have he applied his pain face? How would he have applied his pain face? It would have been like Pierce would have pushed the boy, the elephant sales kid into the water, and he would have regretted it. It would have been such a terrible thing, and he would be in such pain due to his regret. Oh, I pushed out the kid. What did I do? Oh, right. I guess that would be the pain face. Yeah, yeah. Damphel says George would have punched the boat motor. Yeah, or something. Yeah. Or maybe, or yeah, or George would have like, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I won't. I'll stop with the George. I was going to say something. I don't think it would have been appropriate. But anyway, so let's see. Yeah, yeah. That's Henoch says, yeah, bullets do not kill. It's the finger that pulls it. So quoting Lazar, or Lazar. Yes, the chap who made the bullets, 007. Yeah. Damphel says Dalton would have smoldered and brooded for a moment before gunning the engine and telling Dalton, "You're bloody lucky to be alive." Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah, the elephant sales kid a la Pam Bouvier. You're absolutely right. Yes, yeah. Or maybe George Lazenby would have just said, "Oh, 20,000 baht. Oh, here you go. You know, there you go. Thank you, thank you. Get yourself some caviar north of the Caspian." Maybe that's what he would have done. Let's see. Or Dutch Film actually says the same thing, but for Daniel Craig. Yeah, Daniel Craig would have paid the 20,000 baht. We're living in a politically correct world. Yeah. Let's see. Aaron says, I love the Hong Kong harbor night shots, especially the one where you Scaramanga's boat in the distance through the small window. Yes, yes, you're absolutely right on the boat. And the music is great too. Dun, 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 da, 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 right? Dun, da, 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 da. Yeah, it's great stuff. Yeah. And talking about the budget, relatively small, which is why they decided to go full extravaganza with the next one. I didn't get into too much detail here, but there's also a really fascinating history in terms of Broccoli and Saltzman. You know, we should, of course, I think we always have this in mind when we understand what happens after this film and the Broccoli-Saltzman relationship. And how Broccoli and Saltzman worked on these films up to then. It's a really fascinating, and the interactions with Connery, etc. Really fascinating stuff. But yeah, let's see here, and let's see. Yeah, yeah, Damphel, thank you. And I'm right there. So with Broccoli struggling to hold on after Saltzman left and sold his shares to United Artists, it began the epic struggle. Yes, to make Spy, the epic long struggle. And all the years and efforts led to the moment when we could hear the great the moment, you know, bum 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 bum, right? It's great stuff. We'll talk about Spy when we get there. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting talk. That's a great one. Right. Okay, yeah, sorry about this. I know I said I would only talk about Man with the Golden Ring, but just give me one Spy Who Loved Me moment. One of my favorite moments is the music cue when we see the light shine on Jaws in Egypt. I love, and it does it twice. It does it like twice in the space of a minute. And it goes back to dark. And it does it twice. Well, no. Oh, great stuff. Great stuff. I am he, the Pharaoh. Oh gosh. All right. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Just scrolling down the chat here. And It's now, I see, 8:45, so we are almost out of time. So let's see. I'm just gonna try to get down here as much as possible. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm skipping over a lot of great comments. What a great chat you are having here, by the way. Thank you very much for this. Yeah, Erwin says, of all the villains, the one I find the funniest is the long-haired karate guy, and the hilarious way he walks next to. Yeah, Tushman, I think. Right? He's like, after he does his warm up in front of the entire school watching, he's like, yeah, all right, yeah. Ah, yeah. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Damn Fool's talking about George and Yuri. Yes. Hanok Chula. Yeah. So I'm scrolling down, and I should know Craw fans. So last call, because we're almost out of time. Maybe another 5-10 minutes, we're going to have to end the conversation. But any Craw fans out there, this is your last chance. Let me know in the chat. Let's see. Saint Mark is your hello. Danful says, people always try and put the film down for the kung fu elements, but it's implemented perfectly well. Yeah, although I'm not sure how. I mean, is Bond, maybe if we can understand, maybe Bond has some training in martial arts due to his being in the service of MI6, maybe we can understand. But other than that, it does have, yeah. But I understand what you're saying, though. Damn Fool, not a problem. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, high fat and low fat. Yeah. Although, yeah, I'm again, it just goes with those. Yeah. Yeah. Oh well, I mean, it would have been interesting to see what would happen. So, what if? Yeah, Nick Nack once trained as a musician. Yes, and there is this way that he is very clever and like a illusionist and things of that nature. Yes. Erwin says Scaramanga knows nothing about science, which is hilarious. Thank you, Erwin. Thank you, Craw. I'm at the point now that Craw is the true mastermind. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, talking about Christopher Lee. Yeah. Yeah, and talking about the fingers on the dummy. And you can actually see the moment where all fingers are intact, which is the clue to, which is the visual clue. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Irwin. Yeah, and Cooper Glover. Yep. Yeah, and then talking about the gun. Where did he get the gun? At the end, Zyroth says he took the gun off the wax figure. Yeah, and Irwin says, "I love Scaramanga's outfits." Yes, the cream suit. And the short sleeve shirt at the end. To us, Mr. Bond, we are the best. Yes. Great stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Cooper Clever says, Daisuke Scaramanga has a mutual respect for Bond because of who they are. Yes. Seth says, when Scaramanga shoots the cork off the champagne, so many things that Dom Perignon 64, right? It's a cocktail party as an action film series. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, there's the sexual sexual overtones when he rubs the lips with the gun. Yes. Hanok, thank you very much. So, Ryder rated 18. Hello, hello. It's nice to see you. Tigra Z. Yes, it's nice to see you. Okay. Yes, damn fool. Forgot to tell you. Yes. Yeah, that's another. That's dubbed, right? Yeah. Forgot to tell you. Yeah. That's great stuff. Yeah. Their father, yes, runs a karate school. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, thank you, damn fool, Craw. Yeah. All right, so I'm having real difficulty with the live chat here. It's just jumping around on me today, more so than usual. So I'm so sorry. If I've skipped over your comment over the course of this discussion, I really apologize. I didn't mean to, but technical difficulties here on my end. It's my fault probably. So sorry about that. But let's see. I'm just gonna scroll up here and see if there's anyone here that I've missed. If I've missed you. Again, please accept my apologies. Andrew Plant Gollum is here. Hello. MBP is here. Hello. Rider Rated 18 is here, of course. Our dear friend. It's always nice to see you. Let's see. And, oh gosh. Let's see. Oh, Damien Ristori, hello. You say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure when The Man with the Golden Gun aired on Christmas Day, early 1980s, it had a record viewing, or most watched Bond ever at the time, a ratings winner, 81, 83 maybe. Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't verify that. On ITV. Okay, so very good. Interesting. That's really interesting. Again, I can't verify, but thank you very much and you say don't mind Spectre at all. Yeah, we'll talk about Spectre at a later date, I hope. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, what does he say in that? Cuckoo, right? Inspector. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, talking about cringeworthy moments in Bond films. Razor Wire Reviews, hello. It's great. Great to see you. Razor Wire says, I'm in work, so missed this. That's okay, no problem, my friend. But I literally just edited a video for a freelance job about this one. The writer really dislikes the film and classes that his least favorite Bond. Okay, well, I, on the other hand, have always had a soft spot for it. Yes, and I think, and you continue, I feel like it laid some groundwork and gave them the viewpoint to work out the kinks for Roger before the next film, which is one of the best Bond films ever. And also, the film stands, I think, really strongly on its own. You're right in terms of what we understand is the generally perceived popularity of Spy Who Loved Me, quite deservedly so. But The Man with the Golden Gun is excellent, I think, really excellent. It's not, again, free of problems completely, but it's really excellent. So, okay, so now I'm scrolling down here to the very end, and I apologize once again if I've skipped over your comment. But I must, okay, let's see, Hanok Irwin, let's see, Damien asks, have you ever visited Scaramanga's Island? I said, no, and that's one of the places I'd love to go. You know, I've mentioned it before, and I'll say it again, the great people at James Bond Radio, JBR, right, we're talking about this and visiting the island, and so I'd love to do that one of these days, but... I'm a big fan of JBR, by the way. So anyway, I apologize. The sound is going to be... Okay, actually, let me now just wind down the conversation about The Man with the Golden Gun and just say that we've been talking for about 3 hours, or just shy of 3 hours. So again, not damn full idealistic Crusader territory by any stretch of the imagination. Speaking of which, Kubrick Lover 1972 and Damn Full Idealistic Crusader, they help me out all the time. And so they are great. They have great channels. And so please check those out. I've mentioned them before, and I'll gladly mention them again as much as possible. So there's that. And anyone who wants to be a moderator, there's no extra responsibility in terms of needing to do a lot of work in that sort of thing. But if anyone is interested, it does help in terms of trying to keep up with the live chat, because as you can see, I'm very incapable of doing it on my own. So if anyone is interested, please let me know. You can let me know off chat, offline, and I'll be very happy to make those arrangements. But again, no pressure on that end. But on that score, I want to thank Damn Fool and Kubrick Lover for their help as always. And so just to conclude, Man with a Golden Gun, and also now for those of you in the chat, please begin to think about what film you would like to talk about at the next live stream, James Bond 007 film discussion live stream, and we'll determine it at the end. So please think about that. In the meantime, let me just make a closing remark and say that it is a film that is one that, as I say, I grew to love over time, over a long period of time, I would add. But still, it works very well for me now. And acknowledging its what could be said to be faults and problems of character design and a motivation, etc., and depiction, still it still works. It still works really well for some of the examples that I've tried to cite here, as well as the examples that you, my dear friends, have mentioned in great abundance in this particular chat. So I think it's also very important in terms of the film in the context of Broccoli Saltzman. It's also important, as many of you have said, in terms of further establishing the Roger Moore James Bond persona. It's also very important in terms of the Guy Hamilton, Tom Mankiewicz era, which is, I think, one of the shining spots of the James Bond series overall. And also it's important because it is a great film. It has great, lovely moments, as I was trying to suggest, moments of mixtures of great visuals and music, character moments, complexity, confusion, and excitement and action. And it's a great time. So this is the film, The Man with the Golden Gun. Okay, so thank you very much. And we're not quite done yet, but please forgive me for a moment because I need to unplug my mic and plug in the power cord, because this is going to be, whoops, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm about at like less than 10% on my phone. And so I'm going to unplug. So the sound's going to be bad from here on out. Excuse me here for 1 second. Okay. There we go. Okay, so sorry about the drop in sound quality. I hope you can forgive me. But now, yes, mic gets unplugged and we go into the after party. So the after party is, now we have to decide what we're going to talk about for the next James Bond. We have to decide two things. First is how we should end this live stream, because I always think we should end with some kind of detail or quote from The Man with the Golden Gun. So let's think about that, and also how we should what film we should talk about for the next James Bond live stream. So please give me your candidate choices for what you want to talk about next, and we'll reach a consensus in the group before we end today. But if you don't mind, maybe I can make one suggestion as to how we can end it. We can say, on cue, everyone, I suggest maybe we should give the Chula chant. I'm a big fan of the Chula chant, so we could all say Chula, 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 and end it. So maybe think about that. But otherwise, my friends, let's think about what film we should talk about for the next live stream. So please give me your choices, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's see. Rider Raider 18, my dear, to us, Mr. Bond, we are the best. Yes. Okay, so let's see. Zyrother is from Russia with love. Cooper Glover says, or I'm sorry, I should say Furl. And Cooper Glover 1972 says, Swillum. And Hennock says, the spy who loved me. I should have done that. I should have said when people said TMWTGG, I should have said, what is it? Tamowatg. Okay. Erwin says maybe the world is not enough. Changing actors. Well, yes. Thank you. Dr. 13, hello, my friend. For your eyes only. Yes. Great. You're absolutely right. Yes. Oh, Damien, yes, it's a yes I'm expecting. No, 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 no. No, he won't. I love it. And he turns on the wall and the shadows on the wall scare him. No, he won't be leaving. Yeah, it's so creepy, right? Cool Kids Clip says Furl, and Hennock says Sapulum. So Spy Who Loved Me. Rider Rated 18 says Octopussy. Yes. Maybe. Yeah, that's a good one. So, okay. Yes. Cooper Glover 72 says Dr. 13. I love the starting of FIO. So from For Your Eyes Only. MMA on point. Thank you. Oh, it's nice to say thank you very much. Got big into collecting. Oh, I hope you enjoy the collecting journey. Let's see. Cool Kids Clips. Yes. Let's see. Okay. Any more candidates? Any more candidates? Anyone? I don't know what. Damien says Avtac. Cool Kids Clip says LDK Lidic. Yes. Yes, Razor Wire says I forget which ones you've done. That's a good point. Yeah, so I should have done a list. I'm so terrible with this. So the list. What have we done? We'll let you know what we do. So you can say the film that you want, and if we've done it, I'll let you know. Rider Rated 18, View to a Kill. Maybe Skyfall says Seth. We've done all the debut films. Is it? I always can someone help me with the pronunciation? What's the accepted pronunciation? Is it twine or is it twiny? What is it? What's the accepted? Is it twine or twiny? Can someone help me out? Video store review. Wow, my first ever Daisuke live stream. Hope you're well, and a genuine and very much heartfelt thank you for transferring your passion of film and physical media to us all. Hope you have a great 2020. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank the great people here. They are the heart and soul of the chat, and so I'm just here along for the ride. But your compliment is very, very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you, and it's nice to meet you. And great name, by the way, Video Store Review. I love it. Love it. It's not just Video Store Review. It's all caps too. Fantastic. I love it. I look forward to our conversations going forward, my friend. Let me know if you have a favorite film or films or recommendations. And also, if you have a favorite Bond film, I'd love to know. Hennock says the world is not enough. So Damfle's twine as in a piece of twine. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. That saves me the embarrassment of saying twiny. Although I've said it, I think, at least twice already today. Yes. Damien says, love the GG. So Golden Gate Bridge sequence, most rewinded Bond scene is. I love that scene too. Yes. Yes, I love it. And also that's a great another John Barry score, you know. Dun, 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 dun. I love that sequence too. And and there's a moment where Zoran's glasses fall off at a key moment in that film. Oh yeah, it's great. And I don't want to say too much about Avtac, but there's a moment where Zoran's the key moment. Oh, I love that moment. Yeah. What a great film. Yes, it's this moment I love this moment, and also it's in Goldfinger, right? The old lady with the machine gun, and the way that her whole body just vibrates. It's like, it's so great, and she's so intent on reaching her target. Oh, it's great stuff. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Anyway, um, let's see. Um, all right, alrighty here. Oops. Okay. Definitive review so bad it's good. Die another day. Die another day. Yeah, yeah. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Damsels I'll plug for Daisuke talking. Die another day. A few for Skyfall. Okay. Let's see. Golden Gate scene makes me catch my breath every time I see it. Yes. Right. Razor Wire. Thank you. Wow. Right. What a view to a kill. Yeah. Which is one of the most like perplexing lines for me. I I still to this day don't quite 100% know what that exactly means. I think I do, but I don't quite know what it means. But also, great shout out to Grace Jones's sunglasses there. Like the ovals. Like one is like vertical, one is horizontal. Great stuff, great stuff, right? And right, plus half our net income, right? Oh, great, yes, yes. Um, these are outrageous terms. Do you want me to have a drink outside? Oh, yeah, sure, I'll go out. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Um, Great stuff. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, Dan Fools is best interpreted as a view to kill being a pun, right? Making a killing in the market. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. I love Dan. Yes, yes. It's about the details. I love it, my friend. I love it. Yeah, yeah. Ah, yes. What a view to a kill. Yeah. So he should have said, so when Mayday says, "What have you to a kill?" or "What have you to a killing?" that we're gonna make in the microchip market. Ah, yeah, that's so cool. That would have been great. Cinematically, it would have been totally flat. It's much better as it is, of course, but realistically, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and also Zoran, the way he just like looks, and he's like, yeah, oh, throw him in. Yeah, yeah, great stuff. But okay, now uh, so what's the count that we have so far? What can we say here? Um, Spy Who Loved Me, Swim. Yeah, Spy Who Loved Me is great. I mentioned the Jaws, like stuff, and it's got great necktie acting from Roger Moore. Roger Moore has some great necktie acting in his films, but here in Spy, there's a really great necktie scene, necktie acting, hand patting behind acting, and also oh, there's a lot of good ohs in this film, right? So there's like has that ever been done by someone? Has there ever the great Roger Moore sound? Has anyone ever done that online to like go through each film and count how many oohs there's? Like, is there a counter website for that? I'm sure there has to be. There has to be. Okay. Damfool says I think Spy has the most votes. Cooper Clever says I think it's Swillem. Okay. How does that grab you? Oh, that's fine. Yes. Yeah, yeah. So, okay, all right. Um, let's see. So, is it going to be Spy? Uh, yes. Is it going to be Spy? Yes. All right, all right. Um, let's see. Dampool says his signature fighting move is grab a higher handhold to swing out and kick the enemy. Yeah, yeah, and also he likes to do the chop as well. Although so does Agent Triple X Anya Masova, right? Damn, no, 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 right? Yeah, yeah. We'll talk. So Spy, is it gonna be Spy Who Loved Me? Are we gonna go in sequence here? So okay, so this is a first, right, in our live stream history. So the first time we're going to go in a sequence. So thank you very much. So okay, so Spy Who Loved. So okay, the Spy Who Loved Me. It is okay. Okay, we'll do the Spy Who Loved Me. So and video store review. Thank you very much for this. Oh, great stuff. great. And okay, so Spy Who Loved Me. Great. And what do you know about Spy Who Loved Me? So it'll be, um, you know, uh, right, in Man with a Golden Gun, we understand that it was the first time for him to do a jump stunt like that with the car twirl in midair like that. And we also have a moment where Bond is going to be doing something for the first time in his life, which is um, remove the bomb from the missile there and stuff. So it's great. And I love there's also great mouth gulp acting in both films. Here in Man with a Golden Gun, we had the sequence in Beirut with Saida and the golden bullet in the belly button. And in Spy Who Loved Me, we have the close up on the guy's face in that suspenseful scenes, like, oh, so, oh, great, more like mouth gulping acting, I suppose, in both films. And yeah, so okay, so not Man with the Gold, The Spy Who Loved Me. Great. Well, I'm looking forward to that one. Yes. Um, yes, and Seth Walsh also says, um, a non-Bond film club live stream one day again. So yes, well, maybe that would be possible. Let's see if we can do that. Although, again, it's so much I want to do, so little time, as with many things in my life, in life, how to deal with the time. But maybe one of these days. Yes. Oh, Casino, Scorsese's Casino. Yeah, that would be interesting. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, uh, I don't want to talk too much about it, but yeah, Casino. I love the reflection when um, Ace and Nikki are meeting in the desert. Meeting in the desert always made me nervous. I always heard about the holes in the desert, but everywhere I looked, there could have been a hole. And he says, this time, when he says a couple of 100 yards down the road, I gave myself 50-50. And you get the shot of the reflection of Nikki's car, the Joe Pesci character, as he's driving, in the glasses of Ace, of Robert De Niro. And the glasses are very similar to these frames of glasses, as some people have remarked. So that's great. And then you get the theme to Le Mépris, right? Contempt, that emerges again later in a very key moment. So, yeah, that's a great, and then it's interrupted by a lot of drum and great stuff. Great stuff. And then when Joe Pesci opens the door in that moment, when he opens the door, you can actually see in the reflection of the door, the car door, the camera. So that's, yeah, Casino. What a great, another in the history of Martin Scorsese films. It's, I love Martin Scorsese, and I love "Gimme Shelter," and I love it. Oh, what song should we use here? Let's use "Gimme Shelter." So it's great. I love the "Gimme Shelter" use. It's a different it's a different version of "Gimme Shelter." At least now it's edited. There's one portion where it's edited as a different version than the album version of "Gimme Shelter," which is great. But then it goes back to the album version. It's really well edited. uh yes, and it's a moment where Nikki's walking out of the courthouse, get out of there, be nice, be nice. He's talking to the camera, when the camera becomes us, the camera. So that's great. So Casino. Yes, one of these days maybe we can talk about Casino. Yeah, but yeah, all right. So okay, so it's gonna be, sorry about that, so it's gonna be or Magnolia, Seth, Magnolia. Oh, great, Magnolia by uh, my mom, when she was still alive, she always loved the line by Tom Cruise in Magnolia. And what is it? Right, it's that moment where he's like, "What are you doing?" And Tom Cruise says, "I'm quietly judging you." Oh, yeah. And of course, Amy Mann. I love the music. I've mentioned that I listen to it rather regularly. So yeah, I love her rendition, her version of One. Yeah, right. Right. I mean, it's so inherent in the song itself, right? One is the loneliest number that you'll ever know. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one. Although I always thought, well, no, two is not such a lonely number, right? But anyway, great song and great version that she does. I remember too. I didn't watch the entirety of the Oscars that year, but I remember I wanted to catch the moment where she, because I think she performed at the Oscars that year because the song was nominated. What was it? "Save Me." The song was "Save Me," which I thought was great. And it was used so well in Magnolia. So powerful. Um, um, and That's the song where what is she used the word in the lyric? What was that word? Um, uh, um, Something like, "For a girl in need of a tourniquet." And like, I was thinking, wow, who uses the word tourniquet in a song like this? Wow, wow, great stuff. Yeah, I love that. But anyway, yes, Magnolia, one of these days. Yeah. Um, I'm so sorry. Yes, yes. Okay. And Kubrick Lover says, "I have my Kubrick box set signed by Tom Cruise and Matthew Modine." Wow. Wow. Yes, Aruther says, "If we keep Daisuke off topic, we will be here another 3 hours." Yes. Yes. Yeah, yeah. So please, okay. So, and now yes, now is the time. So, um, let's see. Cool Kids goes, "Hey, can I give a recommendation?" Yeah, sure, of course. There's some time left. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. Damn fool. I can go off topic too, and we'll never finish, even if we stay on topic. Yes. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Thank you. Yes, what a great choice. Yes. Yes. It was one of my absolute favorites of my father. And so, and when, and Yes, he was also a big film fan. He loved The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, the laugh, the Lee Van Cleef laugh, Angel Eyes. Oh, what a great introduction that is. Yes. And uh, I love the way, right, Eli Wallach, right? "Hey, blonde, you know what you are? That's a great son of a..." Yeah, yeah, oh, great stuff. Oh, great stuff. Anyway, um, yeah, yeah. So anyway, uh, yeah, yeah. Maybe I should, maybe I should take Eli Wallach's advice in that film. Don't talk. Just don't. So I should maybe stop talking anyway. And so let's figure out. The next Bond live stream is "The Spy Who Loved Me." So thank you very much. Cool Kids Club says Duck You Sucker has a weird movie. Yes, although yeah, I love Duck You Sucker. I love it, and it's great. Sean, Sean, Sean. Oh, great stuff. Um, talk about mystery stuff. What the heck is going on with? Oh, it's great. It's the mystery of what happens in the past, and not only the mystery, but it's mystery in slow motion. So it's like, Sean. Oh, great stuff. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. Damn fool, Duck, you suck. I know. Yeah, I know your feelings about that, my friend. Yes, yes. Ah, masterpiece. I agree. I absolutely agree. But anyway. So let us. Let's see here. Um, Oh, Goodbye Steve. League of Gentlemen. Basil. Yes. Wow. What a great choice. Oh, yes. Yes. That is an interesting film. Wow. Yes. Yes. Wow. Talk about a. Wow. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. I have to get going. So anyway. Thank you very much. And I have to start going because I have to walk my dog. So thank you very much for this. And so next live stream, excuse me, the live stream will be "The Spy Who Loved Me," and I will make an announcement about that very shortly. It might be next Sunday, but wait for the official announcement. But it'll probably be next Sunday at the same time, same place. So I hope to see you there, and I will make the announcement very soon. But in any event, my friends, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And so let us now end the live chat. So I will turn off, and as we turn off, let us all take part in that great chant that we saw in this film for discussion today, The Man with the Golden Gun. So the Chula chant. So what I'll say 3, 2, 1, and then everyone at the same time can join in the chant Chula, Chula, Chula. Okay, and then it'll end. So all right. So thank you very much. And Dample, I'll fluff my shirt cuffs. Thank you. And Seth Walsh says, Doggy, what's the dog's name? Oh, my dog's name is Koharu. Koharu is the dog's name. So very nice. So thank you very much, my dear friends. Thank you. And I will see you next time where we will discuss The Spy Who Loved Me. And in the meantime, my friends, as always, be happy and healthy and well. Stay safe, my friends. Stay safe wherever you find yourselves in the world. And yes, until then, keep on watching a lot of great movies, including watching James Bond films and The Spy Who Loved Me. So until then, my friends, be well. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Chula, 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 chula.